Chapter 1081 Threat and Ignore. First update. At the beginning, many forces didn't know what a boundary stone was, but in order to deliberately block Haifeng Mountain, the upper three heaven forces explained the use and value of the boundary stone. Immediately, countless forces went crazy, and they also secretly scolded the Dark Temple for being stupid, guarding the boundary stone for countless years, but they did not know the use of the boundary stone. Otherwise, after so many years of controlling the corpses of the world beasts in the Dark God Temple, a group of Taoist ancestors would have been cultivated using the world stones. And the corpse of the world beast has also been targeted by countless forces again, because the body of the world beast can still give birth to the world stone, unless the source of the body of the world beast is exhausted. But it will take a long time for the origin of a world beast corpse to escape, so there is no need to worry now. Therefore, the value of a world beast corpse is still very large. However, the four transcendental forces and many top forces have occupied the body of the beast, and other forces cannot participate in it at present, unless the forces in the other domains are fully recovered. Then, the issue of the ownership of the corpses of the beasts will be changed at that time. The real country. The true ancestors of the Zushan Temple were very excited when they learned that the glazed tile school was destroyed. The true ancestors of the true kingdom of Zushan are always worried that they will be attacked by the true ancestors of the glazed tile school when they go out. At present, Yi Tian is the only one in the True Realm Kingdom to intimidate the Glazed Tile sect, but if the Glazed Tile school makes a sneak attack, other true ancestors in the entire False Heaven True Kingdom except Yi Tian have no ability to save their lives at all. Now that the 29 Luli sects have been destroyed, and the true ancestors of the Dark Temple are almost dead, they naturally don't have to worry, so why not get excited? Not long after Yi Tian returned to the True Kingdom of Void Heaven, a true ancestor came to visit Yi Tian. If an ordinary true ancestor came to visit, Yi Tian might not be able to see him, but this true ancestor was not an ordinary true ancestor, but a supreme true ancestor, and he came from the Zixia sect, one of the three heavenly powers. The Zixia sect is an authentic seventh heaven power, but it is not comparable to a power like the Glazed Tile sect. And the true ancestor who came was impressively a supreme true ancestor of Zixia sect, named True Ancestor Huang Guang. The true ancestor of all laws, you are polite. True ancestor Huang Guang bent down and said. What's the matter with Junzu Wangguang coming to me? Yi Tian asked. He believed that it was definitely not a trivial matter for Huang Guangjin ancestor to come to him, otherwise he would not have to come in person. I want to buy the boundary stone in the hands of the true ancestor of all methods. The true ancestor Huang Guang said directly. Boundary stone, what boundary stone do I have in my hand? Yi Tian laughed. Don't deny it, Huang Guangjin said. Some middle and third level forces do not know your identity, but most of the upper third level forces know your identity. As a general of Haifeng Mountain, this time I participated in the Glazed Tile School. In the War of Annihilation, I don't believe you if you say that you don't have a boundary stone on your body. Yi Tian actually knew for a long time that his identity would definitely be known by the powers in the upper third layer, because his whereabouts could be easily found out. Moreover, General Zusha had also told him, and many of the upper three heaven forces knew his identity. At the beginning, he had obtained 3 records from the ancient world, and some of the true ancestors of the upper third heaven forces wanted to kill him, but were warned by the blood evil general. Therefore, the fact that he joined the Black Wind Mountain is not a secret. I only have a few boundary stones in my hand, it is impossible to trade them out. Yi Tian said. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, why bother? It doesn't matter if you trade a few pieces, and you can also get a lot of resources which will be good for you and me. Otherwise. True ancestor Huang Guang's voice gradually became cold, and the threat was obvious. Oh, how about otherwise? Yi Tian doesn't care about Dao at all. Otherwise, you may have one more enemy, and even become an enemy of our Zixia sect. True ancestor Huang Guang threatened directly. Then be the enemy. Is it possible that your Zixia sect is more powerful than our Haifeng Mountain? Dare to threaten me, you are not qualified. Yi Tian said coldly. 15R. True ancestor Huang Guang was angry. He didn't take Yi Tian as an aboriginal at all before, thinking that Yi Tian was just a little bit better in talent, coupled with the importance of Haifeng Mountain, he cultivated to the current state. If he can also get a few boundary stones, he can raise his comprehension talent to super god level, and he can also raise his other special talents to super god level. At that time, he will also be able to attack the top Xeon true ancestor, and he is even expected to attack the invincible true ancestor. But Yi Tian refused to trade, which made him very angry. The true ancestors of all methods, the true ancestors of Haifeng Mountain are most afraid of being exposed. After all, it is impossible for Haifeng Mountain to send a large number of true ancestors for you alone to protect you. Haifeng Mountain is different from our sect power. We the sect forces are more united, so if you are an enemy of us, you will really die. True ancestor Huang Guang threatened again. If you don't go, then don't go. Yi Tian mobilized the power of his own territory, even holding the forbidden spear in his hand. Now, his forbidden body has been tempered to 20%, its power is much more terrifying than before, and the condensed forbidden spear is naturally more terrifying. Looking at Yi Tian's forbidden spear, and feeling the pressure from the void, true ancestor Huang Guang was also a little afraid. After all, this is not his home ground. If a large number of true ancestors of the Zushan lineage join forces to mobilize the formation, they can really keep him. He can't compete with a real country by himself, even the invincible ancestors may not be able to compete with a real country, and sometimes the number of people can really make up the difference in strength. Humph! True ancestor Huang Guang snorted coldly and turned to leave. Looking at the disappearing true ancestor Huang Guang, Yi Tian's face was also very gloomy. If I have the strength of the invincible true ancestor, which supreme true ancestor would dare to threaten me casually? Yi Tian thought to himself. In the end, it's still a question. The true ancestor of the strong is indeed a top-notch existence for the lower and middle 3-level forces, which is enough to deter them, but it is difficult to deter the upper 3-level forces. There are at least dozens of supreme true ancestors in any of the upper 3rd-level forces. Some forces have more supreme true ancestors than Blackwind Mountain, at least hundreds of them, and even a few invincible true ancestors. Therefore, a supreme ancestor like Yi Tian is really nothing. After Wangguang Junzu returned to Xixia sect, he really wanted to unite with other supreme ancestors to deal with Yi Tian, but the other ancestors didn't really want to offend Haifeng Mountain. After all, although Haifeng might not be united, the key was to kill. If you kill them, maybe they will rob you in the future. Haifeng has done this kind of thing more than once or twice. If you can't offend, you can't offend. The key point is that Yi Tian's talent is also very high, and he has mastered the power of darkness and taboos, so he will definitely be a big man in the future. If you can't kill it, it will be troublesome. Huang 357 The true ancestor is stupid, but the other true ancestors are not stupid. In this way, this matter came to an end for the time being. Later, there were also some true ancestors who sent messages to Yi Tian, wanting to buy boundary stones, but Yi Tian rejected them one by one. In a flash, decades have passed. Yi Tian used the boundary stone in his hand to cultivate a group of enchanting geniuses of his own in the Juju space. Each genius has a super god-level comprehension talent, plus at least one special talent. With enough talent and sufficient resources, their growth rate is naturally very fast. Back then, those geniuses were basically at the level of divine generals and heavenly monarchs. Today, they are basically at the level of true monarchs, and a few have reached the half-step true ancestor. At this speed, it would not be difficult for Yi Tian to give birth to a group of true ancestor legions in the future. In fact, many generals have a group of true ancestor legions under the command of at least thousands or even thousands, and the true ancestor legion under General Zusha is at least tens of thousands. Of course, this is talking about the past, something that has not been broken in the domain. But now, a large number of true ancestors in Haifeng Mountain have fallen, and countless legions have perished. Naturally, it cannot be compared with the peak. However, as long as the generals are willing, they can naturally cultivate a group of true ancestor legions. At that time, some small things can be left to the legion to do, and you can retreat and practice with peace of mind. This day, during Yi Tian's retreat, he sensed that something on his body was vibrating. What? Yi Tian searched the universe within his body and finally found it. It's that cold jade coffin. Yi Tian was surprised. Chapter 1082 Ouyang Ju and Hasho 39, Regarding this cold jade coffin, Yi Tian has indeed forgotten for a long time, but it does not mean that he does not remember. At the beginning, it was this cold jade coffin that resisted the fatal blow of a true ancestor, which saved his life. He has not yet understood the origin of Hanyu coffin. Obviously it is the palace of a top true ancestor, why there is such a cold jade coffin, its defensive effect is too amazing. When he had just been promoted to true ancestor, he also tried to open the cold jade coffin, but failed. So, he ignored the cold jade coffin. Now, this cold jade coffin is trembling. But Yi Tian took a closer look, and the woman inside didn't seem to move. Since the divine sense could not detect the internal situation of the cold jade coffin, Yi Tian could not confirm whether the inner woman was dead or alive, but the vibration of the cold jade coffin was definitely abnormal. I am now the true ancestor of the strong, I don't know if I can open the cold jade coffin. Yi Tian muttered. He condensed the power of darkness and taboo to form a spear, and hit the cold jade coffin with one blow. However, Yi Tian was directly blasted out, while the cold jade coffin was intact, as if there was a mysterious force protecting the cold jade coffin. Even the spear formed by the dark forbidden power did not hurt the cold jade coffin. This defense is even more terrifying than I imagined. Yi Tian was shocked. What material is this cold jade coffin, why is it so special, and the identity of the woman in the cold jade coffin is definitely not simple. At this time, the cold jade coffin was still shaking, but Yi Tian couldn't see the root cause. Why don't you ask General Zusha, he knows a lot, maybe he knows Hanyu coffin. So, Yi Tian sent a message to General Zusha, and explained the material of the cold jade coffin carefully, and even passed an image, but he only mentioned the material, not the cold jade coffin and the woman in the coffin. Soon after, General Zusha sent a message about the material of the cold jade coffin. Beaching longevity crystal. Judging from the information of General Zusha, this is a very rare and precious material that can freeze all injuries and even nourish the soul. Some souls have been severely injured, and those who are about to be broken and fallen, once sealed in the blue-green immortality crystal, they can recover after a long time, which is one of the 3 major life-saving wonders in the domain. Moreover, Beaching eternal crystal has 3 characteristics of indestructible, undetectable, and unrefined. According to rumors, only Yuzu can refine Beaching eternal crystal into weapons. My god, if this frost jade coffin is really a blue-green immortality crystal, then the identity of the woman in the coffin is not simple. This is definitely a domain ancestor who refined the blue-green immortality crystal into a cold jade coffin, then the mysterious woman was sealed in a cold jade coffin to save her life. It seems that this woman should not be dead. Yi Tian guessed. A woman who has a relationship with Yuzu and has not fallen, this is simply a hot potato. Although it is very likely that the ancestor of the domain is in the realm of the gods in heaven, and there is no way to come to the realm of Daoshan, but if the force established by the other party is one of the forces in the upper 3rd layer of the domain, then he will take this cold jade coffin. For one's own use, it might offend the other side's taboo. Of course, maybe Yi Tian guessed wrong, maybe this cold jade coffin is a big chance. With the passage of time, the frequency of the trembling of the cold jade coffin is getting higher and higher. It seemed that something was wrong. Yi Tian didn't dare to stay in the human race. If something happened and it affected the human race, then he would regret it to death. Then, Yi Tian came to the desolate area of Zutianjun Kingdom. There are no living beings in the surrounding area. Even if something happens, it will not affect others. More importantly, once there is any vision, it is difficult to be discovered by others, unless it is a vision that spreads throughout the entire imaginary country, it cannot be concealed. Kaka kaka. The sound of friction came one after another, and it seemed that the lid of the cold jade coffin was moving, which caused the sound of friction. Seeing this scene, Yi Tian threw the cold jade coffin directly in the void, and ran to the side to watch. At the same time, he secretly prepared a thousand way technique, Tiangong extreme speed. In the event of an accident, he would not hesitate to open Tiangong and leave here as quickly as possible. I saw the lid of the Hanyu coffin moved slowly, and it took about 10 minutes to finally fully open. Then, a Miaman figure came out. Seeing that this woman really came out alive, Yi Tian was very nervous, but she didn't run away immediately, but used the copy talent to check the opponent's talent situation. Name: Ouyang Jor. Cultivation talent: Super God level. Source talent: Super God level. Origin talent: Super God level. Source speed talent: Super God level. Yuanbing talent: Super God level. Dao level natal talent: Frozen 9 realms. Yi Tian was very surprised to see the talent called Ouyang Jor, and the other party also had a Dao level natural talent. Without further ado, Yi Tian directly copied the other party's Dao level natural talent. Although he also has talents similar to the 9 realms of frost ice, the more Dao level natural talents that contain the ice element, the easier it will be to practice Dao techniques involving the rules of the ice element in the future. Dao level natural talent is naturally the more the better, and he will not dislike it. This Ouyang Jor has only the cultivation of the true monarch level, and he has just been promoted, so he doesn't seem to be a threat. This is where Ouyang Jor had just woken up, and seemed to be a little confused as she muttered to herself. But soon, he saw Yi Tian, and looked over with a swipe of his eyes. He was clearly just a true monarch, but this sight brought a lot of pressure to Yi Tian. Yi Tian immediately thought that the name Yang Jor was simple, not only because of the invisible pressure, but more importantly, there was an introduction under the talent of copying talent exploration. Introduction. Yang Jor, the reincarnation of the ancestor of the half-step domain, the cultivation base of the true monarch. Paralysis, it turned out to be the reincarnation of the ancestors of the half-step domain. I guessed wrongly before. This cold jade coffin is probably her own. Moreover, no one else sealed her in the cold jade coffin at all. I am afraid she went in by herself. Yi Tian was even able to guess why Yang Jor wanted to enter the cold jade coffin. Perhaps it had something to do with the forbidden area of darkness. At the beginning, when the realm was shattered, Yang Jor was a true monarch, and his strength had not recovered to the level of a half-step realm ancestor, so he was not qualified to participate in that battle. Therefore, she was very unlucky to be thrown into the dark forbidden area by the master of the domain along with 1/3 of the domain. It is conceivable that a true monarch has a small chance of surviving if he wants to cross the dark forbidden area. So, Yang Jor had no choice but to choose a palace of the top true ancestor, took out a cold jade coffin in his collection, and then walked in by himself, falling into a deep sleep. In this way, the cold jade coffin resisted the strange power of the dark forbidden area and reached the Daoshan area safely. I am afraid that this Yang Jor also set some kind of mechanism, such as how many years after entering another realm, it will slowly unblock and so on. In short, Yang Jor came out of the cold jade coffin. Quote. Is it you who got this green coffin? Yang Jor looked at Yi Tian and asked. That's right. Yi Tian nodded. Who are you, actually lying in this coffin? Yang Jor rolled his eyes and said, I was seriously injured and was sent by my father into this green coffin for treatment. Now I just came out. I don't know where this place is. Can you tell me one or two? Pack. Yi Tian thought so in his heart, but he didn't say it. Who knows what ability and trump card this kind of half-step ancestor's reincarnation has, so naturally he can't easily offend. After all, the half-step domain ancestor is an existence that is stronger than the invincible true ancestor. Luin Daozu only got a glimpse of the mysteries of the ancestors of the domain, and has not really stepped into the ranks of the ancestors of the half-step domain, and the ancestors of the half-step domain do not know how many secrets of the ancestors of the silk domain have been comprehended, and it is only a wedge to step into the ancestors of the domain. This existence is undoubtedly the strongest existence that Yi Tian has known so far. Good Li Jiao, this is the ancient world of Xuanshu. Yi Tian said truthfully. Immediately, he told the origins of the ancient world of Xuanshu one by one, and also talked about his experience of getting the cold jade coffin from an underground palace. Thank you. If you hadn't brought me out, it would have taken me a long time to wake up. Yang Jor thanked. But immediately, she said again, I'll call you big brother. I have nowhere to go now. This is an unfamiliar territory, and my strength is too weak. I have just been promoted to true monarch. Why don't you take me in? No list. Yi Tian wanted to say this word, but didn't say it. He guessed that Yang Jor probably wanted to first understand the situation of the ancient world of Xuanshu by his side, and then make a good plan. But he really doesn't want to take in Yang Jor. Who knows if this Yang Jor is a devil? What should he do if it's not good for him? Forget it. Let's take one step at a time. Maybe it's a good thing. A little bit of cultivation secrets from the mouths of such existences, that's a big chance. 1. Yi Tian so comforted himself. Immediately, Yi Tian responded to Yang Jor. Okay, let's live in the human race first. Yi Tian said with a smile. Chapter 1083 The Secret Technique of World Promotion. Third update. Human race. Yi Tian came back with Yang Jor. This move caught Xiao Yu's attention. Yi Tian explained, which made Xiao Yu feel relieved. And Yang Jor was also arranged by Yi Tian in a mansion in his own territory, not far from where he lived. This was to prevent accidents and to monitor Yang Jor. After Yang Jor settled in the Terran, he began to inquire about the situation of the Terran. There are a lot of human races, and many human races know more or less a little bit of information. After repeated investigations, Yang Jor finally knew the situation of the human race and the general strength of the entire ancient mysterious world. The strength of the human race is very weak. There are not many true ancestors. The strongest is the previous true ancestor of all methods. Many human races admire him very much. I guess he is at most a top true ancestor, not even. Yang Jor secretly said. However, she found these information from some weak human races. Those human races don't know much information. The strong human races who really understand the information basically belong to the true monarch, the half-step true ancestor and the true ancestor. But she wouldn't be foolish to go to a strong person above the true monarch to find out the situation, wouldn't that be stupid? However, she was surprised when she learned that the ancient world of Xuanxu had a list of rules that recorded records in the ancient world. She also has a good understanding of the ancient world. Each ancient world has unique rules, but very few ancient worlds will produce ancient world records, and all ancient worlds that can produce ancient world records have high potential. Through the records of the ancient world recorded on the Xuanxu list, you can also roughly understand the general strength of the ancient world of Xuanxu. Then, Ouyang Zhuo'er's consciousness extended to the endless void, found the mystery list, and began to observe the records of the ancient world. Although there are many records in the ancient world, for the true monarchs, they will soon finish reading 357. However, she was shocked. That true ancestor of 10,000 laws actually created the records of the 4 ancient worlds. That kid is so talented. Ouyang Zhuo'er was surprised. The strongest talent record, the strongest new true ancestor record, the strongest true ancestor power record, the strongest physique record. From these 4 records, it can be seen that Yi Tian is very powerful and a true genius. It seems that I underestimated the true ancestor of all methods, no wonder the people of the human race worship him so much. Now it seems that the potential of the human race is also good, and it is a good plan to stay here temporarily. Besides, my identity is not ordinary, most of the forces don't know me, but some of the most powerful Taoist ancestors of the 3rd level forces may have heard of me. If I reveal my identity, it will be a lot of trouble. Ouyang Zhuo'er secretly said in her heart. The human race is weak and has great potential, and the population is large. It is indeed a good way for her to hide in the human race, and it will not attract the attention of the upper 3 heaven forces. In this way, Ouyang Zhuo'er lived in the human race, spending most of the time cultivating and occasionally communicating with the human race. It just so happened that Yi Tian's wife Xiao Yu and Yi Yu were reincarnated, and now they are also at the level of true monarchs. Ouyang Zhuo'er approached them and established a close relationship with them. Since Ouyang Zhuo'er knew everything and could occasionally guide Xiao Yu and Yi Yu, they had a good relationship. In this regard, Yi Tian did not stop it, and there was a half-step domain ancestor reincarnated strong to guide his wife. This is also a big opportunity, he does not need to stop. But the longer Ouyang Zhuo'er stayed in the human race, Yi Tian was still a little worried. So, on this day, he entered the small realm of the Wind King and wanted to find out information about Ouyang Zhuo'er from the various books and information in Haifeng Mountain. But he is still disappointed. The information of a half-step ancestor is definitely an extremely high-level secret. If a general in his area can find it casually, it would be too abnormal. Not to mention him, even General Zusha would never know Ouyang Zhuo'er's intelligence. Perhaps the remaining 6 kings of Haifeng Mountain knew a little bit of information about Ouyang Zhuo'er, but the 6 kings were still sleeping, and he could not disturb the 6 kings. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of years have passed. The speed of practice is too slow. 1. Ouyang Zhuo'er frowned. At the beginning, she was the ancestor of the half-step domain, and she had no choice but to use the secret technique to reincarnate, but she did not awaken her memory at first, and did not awaken her memory until she reached the level of Tianjin. Therefore, she has no resources and treasures on her body. As for the Biqing longevity coffin, it was the only treasure she found. At that time, she had just been promoted to the true monarch, but she never expected that the battle of the realm would break out at that time. The entire domain was shattered, and she almost fell out of luck. Later, the domain shards were thrown into the dark forbidden area by the domain master. How terrifying the dark forbidden area is, the ancestors will fall when they go deep, although the power of the dark forbidden area will be weakened by most of the fragments of the domain, but it is not a true monarch who can reach her. The forces of the lower 3 layers of heaven basically cannot stop the power of the dark taboo, and countless forces of the lower 3 layers of heaven have been annihilated. Only the forces of the middle and 3rd layers of heaven and the forces of the upper 3 layers of heaven have opened all kinds of great formations, secret techniques and a lot of resources to be able to resist. Live. But countless years have passed, and many Taoist ancestors have fallen to protect the disciples in the sect. Therefore, she could only protect herself with the help of Bai Qing Chengsheng crystal and fell into a deep sleep. It is precisely because of her deep sleep that she has no chance to collect the resources of other forces at all. Otherwise, if you look for the fragments of the realm of resources everywhere, you can get a lot of resources. Without resources, no matter how high her talent is, even if she is the reincarnation of a half-step ancestor, there is no way to quickly improve her strength. According to her cultivation speed, it will take a long time to advance to the half-step true ancestor. And the ancient world of Xuanxu has just been promoted. In such a prosperous world, how can she endure such a slow improvement? I hid a lot of treasures in the realm at the beginning, but in order not to let others find it, I set up many dangers. Even the lowest dangerous treasure is not something I can enter now. 1. Ouyang Zhuor wondered. Suddenly, she thought of Yi Tian. Yi Tian seems to be very good at speaking, and his strength should not be weak. The worst is the top true ancestor's combat power, maybe it is the strongest true ancestor. If you ask Yi Tian for help, you should be able to enter one of the treasure places and take out some resources. I just don't know if the true ancestor of 10,000 laws is willing to help. Ouyang Zhuor murmured. No matter what, she's going to try it. So, she went to Yi Tian's palace. Come in. 1. Yi Tian happened to be at the palace residence of the human race. The servants reported that someone had come to see him. He immediately knew that it was Ouyang Zhuor, so he let Ouyang Zhuor come in. Ouyang Zhuor, what are you looking for from me? Yi Tian asked. Ouyang Zhuor smiled and said, Brother Yi, call me Zhuor, I want to come to you for a favor. Yi Tian was a little flustered, a half-step domain ancestor called him Big Brother Yi, can he not panic? Of course, he had to be calm, otherwise it would be bad if he was seen to be flawed. But he didn't know that Ouyang Zhuor didn't have any trump cards at all, otherwise he probably wouldn't have such a mentality. What are you busy with? Yi Tian asked. Brother Yi, my father left me a resource in a certain secret realm. I want to go and get it, but now my strength is too weak, and it is too dangerous to go there, so I want to ask you to help me into that secret realm. Ouyang Zhuor said. Why should I help? What's the benefit? Yi Tian asked. Ouyang Zhuor showed such an expression as she expected, and she expected that Yi Tian would not be able to help in vain. I can pay, Ouyang Zhuor said. Ordinary treasures, I can't despise them. Yi Tian said. World promotion secret technique, I think you should need it. Ouyang Zhuor said. I found that your human race follows the internal world flow, but after reaching the level of Tianjin, the internal universe can only expand in area. Strictly speaking, your human race has no inheritance above the heavenly sovereign at all, and you still follow the flow of body refining and divine power. If you cultivate the secret technique of world promotion, you can make the universe in your body comparable to the big universe, and even comparable to the Tao world and the ancient world. Is there such a secret technique? Yi Tian was shocked. In the Black Wind Mountain, he has never discovered such a secret technique. Of course there is such a secret technique. Ouyang Zhuor proudly said. This is a secret technique developed by my father. In fact, people in the realm don't pay much attention to the internal world, and many world schools have reached the true level. After the ancestors, I also specialized in the cultivation of body flow and divine power flow. Although the inner world is still growing, it has not undergone substantial transformation. It is not a real world school. How about it, if you take me to that secret realm, I will give you the first level of the world promotion secret technique, which is enough for you to raise the inner world to a level comparable to that of the universe. It will also improve your overall strength, at least the battle time will be longer. Okay, I promise. Yi Tian agreed. He didn't think a half-step domain ancestor would deceive him, so he didn't think it was fake. Chapter 1084 Xian Dao of Swords Handbook. 4th. Ouyang Zhuor did not give Yi Tian a complete world promotion to the first level of the secret technique, but gave a little bit in front of the secret technique. From this little bit, it can be seen that this secret technique is not fake. Yi Tian also felt that Ouyang Zhuor was right. If he directly gave the complete secret technique, if he quit, wouldn't Ouyang Zhuor lose a lot? 9. Where are you going? Yi Tian asked. Brother Yi, after all, the location of the domain fragment is different from the original location. It is difficult to find the specific location, but after my investigation, I have locked a general area. As long as I go there and slowly look for it, it should be impossible. How long will it take to find that secret place? Ouyang Zhuor said. Afterwards, Ouyang Zhuor took Yi Tian to leave the kingdom of void heaven and went to a relic space. At present, the domain fragments are mainly scattered into relic spaces, such as the battlefield ruins are a domain fragment, and the infinite abyss fragment is also a fragment. There are many such fragments. Some fragments are occupied by some sect forces, and some fragments do not have sects, but they are also occupied by domain forces or Daoshan realm, the real kingdoms. For example, the kingdom of void heaven currently occupies a number of fragmented relics of the domain. Although it is not occupied by itself, it is also occupied by many forces, and it continues to develop the inheritance of resources and relics above. After all, there are too many forces in the lower 3 layers of the realm that perish, and it is almost impossible to calculate. Any force in the lower 3 layers of heaven possesses countless resources, and some resources cannot even be ignored by the forces of the middle and 3rd layers of heaven. Yi Tian didn't know which domain fragment Ouyang Jor said was the domain fragment, but he soon found out. Jor, are you sure you are talking about this domain fragment? Yi Tian asked. That's right, it's this domain fragment, the secret realm should be here, let's go in and look for it. Ouyang Jor said. Let's plan ahead. Do I know what power this domain fragment has? Yi Tian looked at Ouyang Jor and said solemnly. Which force? Ouyang Jor shook her head and asked. This domain fragment space is occupied by the Zixia sect in the upper 3-level heaven. Although it is not their headquarters, they have also established a branch in this domain fragment space. Of course, we can also enter this domain fragment space, but once you want to enter the secret realm, if you are discovered, you will definitely face the Zixia sect. Yi Tian explained. Zixia sect, that's 7th heaven power. Ouyang Jor frowned slightly. If she still had the strength of a half-step domain ancestor, the mere Zixia sect would undoubtedly be an ant in her eyes, but now that she is a true monarch, the Zixia sect is undoubtedly a behemoth to her now. Be careful, you should be fine, are you afraid? Ouyang Jor deliberately aggressively said. Jor, I'm not afraid. If you want to enter, then I will take you in. If you encounter an unstoppable danger, I will definitely take you away. Yi Tian said. Ouyang Jor nodded. Immediately, Yi Tian took out a mask, which was the mask of general high function. This type of mask was very special, and it was the best to hide his identity. He didn't want to be discovered by Zixia sect, that would be very unfavorable to him. Are you from the Black Wind Mountain? Ouyang Jor was surprised when she saw Yi Tian's mask. How do you know? Yi Tian was surprised. Masks are very common, and the masks of Black Wind Mountain look no different from other masks. Only when you have a mask can you know the magic of a mask. And Ouyang Jor saw at a glance that his mask came from Haifeng Mountain, which is so strange. Ignorant, Ouyang Jor gave Yi Tian a white look and said, the mask forging technology of Haifeng Mountain comes from a supreme ancestor in the realm of the gods, the old man Dutian. The old man forged a lot of black wind for Haifeng Mountain the mask, and my father knew the old man forging sky, so I am very familiar with the old man forging the sky. Your mask is forging by the old man forging the sky, and the style is the style of the Black Wind Mountain, so I guessed it. You have no grudge against high function, do you? Yi Tian was a little nervous inside. In case Ouyang Jor had a grudge against high function, and if he killed him in the future, wouldn't he be a jerk? What kind of hatred can I have with Haifeng Mountain? Don't worry, I don't know anyone from Haifeng Mountain, I just happen to know that old man Dutian has forged a mask for Haifeng Mountain. However, I do know some people from Haifeng Mountain. Secret, do you want to know? 1. Ouyang Jor looked at Yi Tian. Yi Tian nodded quickly. Want to know? Let's talk about it later, let's take out the resources of that secret realm first. Ouyang Jor said. Yi Tian put on a mask and gave Ouyang Jor a half-Dao level mask. Although it was far inferior to High Function's mask, at least it could be used. Immediately, Yi Tian led Ouyang Jor to tear the void and entered the fragmented space of this domain. When Yi Tian sneaked in, a supreme true ancestor opened his eyes in the Zixia sect branch in the fragmented space of this domain. The name Supreme True Ancestor is the Layan True Ancestor of the Zixia sect, and among the Supreme Strong True Ancestors of the Zixia sect, it is considered to be a medium level, and his strength is quite good. Someone did not pass through the official entrance and forcibly tore the space in. True Ancestor Layan frowned. Immediately, he issued an order for the many true ancestors of this branch to investigate, and once they found an uninvited person, they would immediately arrest the other party. When necessary, he will do it himself. The fragments of this domain are not small, and there are also many resources. There are even several extremely rare divine medicine gardens and mineral veins, and even several headquarters of the three heavens are slowly excavating. At this time, other people are naturally not allowed to destroy. Even if the true ancestors of other upper 3-level forces sneak in, they will not let it go. Come in. In a forest, Yi Tian and Ouyang Jor appeared. I will use a secret technique to sense it, Ouyang Jor said. Yi Tian nodded and acted as the protector, allowing Ouyang Jor to perform the secret technique with peace of mind. Ask for flowers. After a long time, Ouyang Jor finished performing the secret technique, opened her eyes, and said, this direction, go forward. Yi Tian wrapped Ouyang Jor with strength and flew fast. After flying for about 10 minutes, Yi Tian stopped. Why did you stop? Yang Zhuo said in surprise. It's almost there, it's not far ahead. There are strong people ahead, and there are quite a few. Are you sure that your secret realm has not been discovered? Yi Tian stared at Yang Zhuo with suspicion. Under normal circumstances, the Zixia sect would definitely not be able to find it, even their Taoist ancestors would be hard to find. But the realm has been shattered, and if there is a problem with my secret realm, it may be discovered. But one thing is certain, even if the secret realm is discovered, at most some of the peripheral resources will be taken away by them, and the core resources will definitely still be there. Yang Zhuo said to himself. Yi Tian sighed and said, according to my investigation, there are 5 top true ancestors and 30 ordinary true ancestors, and it is very likely that they are guarding the secret realm you mentioned. That is to say, if we want to enter the secret realm, I must fight with Zixia sect. If the value of that secret realm is not great, I suggest retreating. Otherwise, I may not be able to withstand the fact that the supreme ancestors of Zixia sect are attracted. Yang Zhuo gritted his teeth and was unwilling to give up. Once she obtains the resources of that secret realm, it is enough for her to raise her strength to the level of the strongest ancestor, or even the level of the invincible ancestor. Otherwise, with her current cultivation speed, it would probably take a long time. But she also knew very well that just being promoted to the first level of the secret technique in the world would not necessarily allow Yi Tian to take risks. Moreover, she is more aware that the world's promotion to the first level of the secret technique is a pit. If it is really given to Yi Tian will probably be pissed to death. Therefore, she must give benefits again. Brother Yi, that secret realm has a lot of resources, and it has helped me a lot in my current cultivation. I don't want to give up. If you really helped me to capture the resources of that secret realm, I would be willing to give a sword of the most powerful swordsman. The Taoist notebook is here for you. The notebook contains a little mystery of the supreme Tao of the sword. If you can comprehend a little bit of fur, it will greatly help your strength. Yang Zhuo said. What? The Tao of the blade handwriting of the Tao of the Xian Tao of the blade. Yi Tian was moved. For the Xian sword Tao, Xian gun Tao. Yi Tian has heard of it all. For example, his master Zushin Daozu, who only mastered the fur of the super-strong swordsmanship, was able to cut a sword comparable to the 5-layer Tian Daozu, so that Daoshin Daozu and the palace master of the Forbidden Palace did not want to offend. And the Blood Fiend General is even more awesome, mastering half of the strong spear, thus beheading the 2nd-level Tian Dao ancestor and a 4th-level Tian Daozu who was suppressed by the rules in the realm of the invincible true ancestor. This shows how powerful these Xians are. As for the Tao of the Sword handbook of the Tao of the Xian Tao of the Sword, once he gets it, he may be able to comprehend a trace of the Tao of the Sword, and his strength will increase greatly. What? Okay, I promise. Yi Tian gritted his teeth and nodded. Chapter 1085 Yang Zhuo and Hash039, is a scumbag. First update. Yi Tian really has an unimaginable desire for the Tao of the Sword handwriting of the supreme Tao of the Sword, so even if he knows that this time there is a certain danger, he still wants to go. Of course, he also has full confidence in his own strength. As long as the invincible true ancestor does not attack, he should not be in great danger. And whether there is an invincible true ancestor of Zixia sect, it is difficult to say at present. Yi Tian has promised Yang Zhuo to fetch the resources in the secret realm, but he will not kill them directly. How stupid. Although Yi Tian can fight against the 5 top true ancestors and the 30 ordinary true ancestors by himself, if he can enter silently, it is naturally better to enter silently. Yang Zhuo, let's catch an ordinary true monarch of the Zixia sect first and interrogate the situation about that secret realm. How about that? Yi Tian suggested. Sure, Yang Zhuo nodded. Afterwards, Yi Tian used the copy talent to probe around, and quickly locked on a true monarch. True monarch Siwan is a top true monarch of Zixia sect, and his strength is quite good. He was originally an aborigines in the ancient world of Xuanshu. He can be valued by the Zixia sect. Joining the Zixia sect is enough to show that he is a genius, and he is also a top genius among the 357 talents. Great potential. Of course, in the headquarters of Zixia sect, he is definitely not a character. After all, there are a lot of true ancestors there. Besides, true monarch is not qualified to enter the headquarters of Zixia sect. Therefore, he was sent to this branch, and now in this branch, he is also considered to be a small high-level executive. It is managed by a group of top true monarchs. Originally, he was cultivating in the branch. But suddenly, a supreme true ancestor asked many true ancestors and a large number of true monarchs to patrol, looking for outsiders, which made him a little uncomfortable. However, even if he is unwilling, he can only come out to patrol and investigate honestly. I hope to find the enemy as soon as possible, and then go back to practice. True Monarch Siwan murmured. Suddenly, two figures appeared in front of him, and True Monarch Siwan was about to confirm when he lost consciousness. Yi Tian looked at True Monarch Siwan, who was being manipulated by himself with illusion magic, and immediately began to interrogate. In a short time, Yi Tian already knew a lot about this branch of Xixia sect. There are a total of one supreme true ancestor, hundreds of top true ancestors, thousands of elite true ancestors, and thousands of ordinary true ancestors stationed here. A 5-layered power like the glazed tile sect can only come up with dozens of top true ancestors, and there are hundreds of top true ancestors stationed in one branch of Xixia sect. It can be seen from this that the power of the upper 3 layers of heaven is so powerful, far surpassing those of the middle and 3rd layers of heaven. As for the information about the secret realm, Yi Tian also asked about the same. The Xixia sect did discover the secret realm, and sent the true ancestors to guard the secret realm. With the knowledge of this true monarch, the secret realm resources seem to have been emptied, but a treasure was discovered, which made the true ancestors very. If you are interested, you can improve the strength of the true ancestors. But the secret realm is only opened every once in a while, and the secret treasure only allows a small number of people to comprehend, so a group of true ancestors are enlightened inside, and a group of true ancestors are guarded outside. When the next time is opened, the 2 batches of true ancestors will be replaced. Occasionally, a true monarch who has made great contributions or performed outstandingly will be given the opportunity to enter that secret realm. After the interrogation, Yi Tian cast an endless sinking on this true monarch, and then threw it into the crack of the void, where it would float. He couldn't control it. Jor, what treasures are there in that secret realm that can enhance the true ancestor's strength? Now there are at least 10 top true ancestors inside and outside, as well as more elite true ancestors and ordinary true ancestors. Yi Tian asked. It seems to be a useless magic suppressing stone. It is the foundation of the secret realm. It can only temper the power of the true ancestor and make the power of the true ancestor more pure, but it is only useful for the true ancestor who has a weak foundation. Like those true ancestors with strong roots, their true ancestor's power is already extremely pure, and there is no way to use the magic suppressing stone to temper the true ancestor's power. So, it is a garbage treasure. Ouyang Jor explained. Yi Tian is speechless. Such a treasure is very precious to a faction. I didn't expect it to be garbage in the eyes of Banbu Yuzu. The key is that he is not easy to refute. Moreover, it is precisely because of the magic stone that so many true ancestors guard this secret realm, otherwise he can easily enter the secret realm. Jor, to be honest, how long can you take away the resources? Yi Tian asked solemnly. About 10 minutes or so. Ouyang Jor calculated and said. Well, let's go in directly. From the current point of view, these true ancestors will not leave, and it is impossible to sneak in. Yi Tian planned. Are you all right? Ouyang Jor asked worriedly. She was not worried about Yi Tian, but worried about herself. If Yi Tian couldn't stand it, she would be finished. No problem. According to the information, this branch has only one true ancestor of the strongest. Guarding the branch, there is no true ancestor of the strong in this secret realm. I can definitely take you away from the resources. Just don't lose the chain on your side. Once you have delayed for a long time and attracted the supreme ancestor of Xixia sect, I will not be able to escape. Yi Tian said. No problem, as long as you can stand it, that's fine. Ouyang Jor said. The secret realm is opened every few years, but Ouyang Jor has the secret technique to open, so there is no need to wait. Immediately, Yi Tian took Ouyang Jor to that secret realm. Along the way, Yi Tian protected Ouyang Jor from hiding his breath. As long as the true ancestors did not investigate carefully, it would not be easily exposed. Before the entrance to the secret realm, palaces are suspended here, and a famous ancestor is retreating here and cultivating, and has already regarded it as a stronghold. Get ready, Yi Tian exhorted. After Ouyang Jor said she was ready, Yi Tian took her to the entrance of the secret realm. At this time, Ouyang Jor played a set of seal formulas, which matched the secret realm. Boom, the secret entrance is opened. And at this time, those true ancestors of Xixia sect naturally reacted. Enter. Yi Tian led Ouyang Jor into the secret realm. Someone enters the secret realm, they have a way to open the secret realm, quickly catch them. All the true ancestors entered the secret realm and vowed to capture Yi Tian and Ouyang Jor. Inside the secret, Yi Tian shuttled around quickly, but his whereabouts had been exposed. Not only did the true ancestors from outside come in, but the true ancestors who were comprehending and cultivating inside also exited from the demon-suppressing stone and blocked Yi Tian from coming. Brother Yi, hurry up, the resources outside the secret are gone, and there is only a mysterious space in the magic stone of the secret town with treasures, which is a place that no one can think of. Ouyang Jor shouted, inside the town magic stone, you idiot. Yi Tian couldn't help cursing. After scolding, seeing that Ouyang Jor was not angry, he breathed a sigh of relief, for fear that this half-step ancestor would be angry. But fortunately, this half-step domain ancestor called Ouyang Jor is very young, and unlike those strong people who do not allow anyone to provoke him, he will kill people at will, and even suppress them. Otherwise, Yi Tian would not dare to scold Ouyang Jor no matter how angry he was. But he is really angry now. The treasure is in the magic stone, and Ouyang Jor said before that the magic stone is garbage. If he dares to love, he must go to the magic stone, that is, he must fight with those true ancestors. Why didn't you say it before? Why didn't you say that there are the resources you want inside the magic suppression stone? Yi Tian asked. You didn't ask. Ouyang Jor took it for granted and said, besides, it's not the same whether you say it or not. Anyway, you still have to come in, or you have to fight with those true ancestors. I am a true monarch. Don't be afraid. What are you afraid of? It's not that I'm afraid. I don't care about the mere top true ancestor. I'm just annoyed that you don't make clear the information. Sometimes the information is unclear, and the result is different. Are you hiding anything? Yi Tian said. Gone. Ouyang Jor shook her head. Yi Tian didn't bother to ask any more, and led Ouyang Jor to speed up and shuttled towards the demon-suppressing stone. 1. He encountered the true ancestors inside this secret realm. Unlike the expected number in 5.8, there are more than 40 true ancestors in total, including 7 top true ancestors. Boom! More than 40 true ancestors attacked with their original magical powers or entry-level Taoism. In the face of such an attack, the general top true ancestors can't bear it, and I am afraid that only the top true ancestors can withstand it, and they will be injured. And Yi Tian is naturally not afraid, he is the true ancestor of the strongest. Purple gold true body, defensive Taoism at the extreme level easily defended against the combined strikes of many true ancestors. Immediately, Yi Tian performed the Tao attack technique, 10 Heavens Prison Dragon. Boom! 10 extremely terrifying prison dragons appeared and killed those true ancestors. I saw that the 10 true ancestors could not dodge in time, and were directly torn and shattered. Then, Yi Tian performed another Taoist technique, Lan Yu Jubing, 3 top true ancestors and more than 20 true ancestors were directly frozen. Except for the 3 top true ancestors, all the ordinary true ancestors and elite true ancestors were all frozen. Fall. Ouyang Jor was surprised by the 3 extreme levels of Taoism in a row. It's not easy for him to practice 3 Tao techniques to the extreme level. Ouyang Jor thought to herself. Chapter 1086 Break the Ban. 2nd. Although Ouyang Jor didn't know Yi Tian's talent, he could see from the 3 extreme Tao techniques that Yi Tian definitely had Tao level natural talent, and there were more than one. And she only has one kind of Tao level natural talent. Of course, if she wants to increase the Tao level natural talent, she can do it, and there are many ways she knows. But sometimes, it is not a good thing to pay too much price for purely increasing Tao level natural talent, and it is better to spend time on cultivation. Sudden, Yi Tian has displayed another ability, the Forbidden Body. I saw that the various trump card attacks displayed by the true ancestors were blocked by Yi Tian's Forbidden Body one after another, and he did not suffer any injuries at all. Then, Yi Tian cast the Forbidden Spear, penetrating the body of a true ancestor one after another. All the true ancestors who did not reach the level of the top true ancestors died one after another, and the top true ancestors were also severely injured. Yi Tian didn't kill those top true ancestors, it was really unnecessary. Killing a top true ancestor was easy, but it took a little time, he didn't want to delay the time. Swish! Yi Tian easily crossed those true ancestors and shuttled in the direction of the magic stone. Soon, Yi Tian came to the town magic stone. Jor, quickly open the magic stone, take out the resources inside, don't waste time. Yi Tian urged. Ouyang Jor wouldn't intentionally drop the chain at this time, and quickly typed a series of seals, which were printed on the magic stone. 29. Boom, the magic stone vibrated, gradually forming a portal leading to an unknown space. Brother Yi, you guard the entrance, I'll go in and get treasure resources. Ouyang Jor said. It is good. Yi Tian nodded. Wow, Ouyang Jor entered the magic stone, while Yi Tian was guarding outside. Soon, a group of true ancestors came, including the top true ancestors who were seriously injured. However, these true ancestors did not take action immediately, but blocked the surrounding area. Obviously, they also know that they are not opponents and dare not attack Yi Tian. After all, the true ancestor is also afraid of death. But as time passed, more and more true ancestors gathered. A few minutes later, Ouyang Jor came out. At this time, there was a terrifying breath in the distance, far surpassing other true ancestors, and he was a supreme true ancestor. Jor, we have to go. The true ancestor Lian of Xixia sect is here, although I am not afraid of him, but once he is entangled, Xixia sect will always support the arrival of more supreme true ancestors. Yi Tian said, it's ready, you can go. Ouyang Jor said. Yi Tian then directly incorporated Ouyang Jor into the universe within his body. In this way, the battle would not easily spread to Ouyang Jor. Otherwise, Yi Tian couldn't guarantee that he would protect Ouyang Jor under the attack of a supreme ancestor. After putting away Ouyang Jor, Yi Tian performed the Zongqin Dao technique, Tiangong Extreme Speed. In an instant, Yi Tian passed through the encirclement of many true ancestors at an unimaginable speed. Quick, stop him, the true ancestors of Xixia sect shouted. They didn't expect Yi Tian's speed to be so fast, and they were rushed out of the encirclement by the opponent without paying attention. With their speed, they couldn't catch up with Yi Tian at all. Secret exit. Yi Tian just came out when he encountered true ancestor Lian. The other party blocked the void with a Taoist weapon, and the moment Yi Tian came out, he used a Taoist technique, a painting that shook the sky. I saw a landscape painting appearing out of thin air, and it really turned into a mountain and river, suppressing it. Yi Tian displayed the 10 Heavens prison dragon, which collided with the Taoist painting of true ancestor Lian. I saw 10 prison dragons roaring in the sky, directly smashing the Taoist technique of true ancestor Lian. Immediately, Yi Tian performed the air-splitting technique again, slamming into the body of true ancestor Lian. In an instant, true ancestor Lian was injured. You are the true ancestor of all methods. True ancestor Lian said coldly. Yi Tian didn't find it strange that his identity was recognized. In fact, he didn't need to hide now. When he used the taboo body before, he knew that he couldn't hide his identity, and the Taoism could be replaced by other Taoism, but the taboo body seemed to be the only one in the entire ancient world of Xuanxu. Therefore, there is no need for him to hide his identity. In fact, before Yi Tian came, he thought that he could easily help Ouyang Jor take away the resources and treasures without fighting. But I still didn't expect the secret realm to be occupied by the Xixia sect. Although the danger inside was also broken by the Xixia sect, it must be confronted by the Xixia sect. Of course, compared with the harvest, Yi Tian felt that the exposure was exposed, and the big deal was to face the Xixia sect. Once he obtains the secret technique of world promotion and the Dao of the blade handwriting of the Xian Dao of the Dao Dao ancestor, his strength will increase greatly, and even the top X strong true ancestor may not be able to do anything to him at that time. Therefore, he is not afraid. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, you dare to break into our Xixia sect's territory, kill our true ancestor, and snatch our resources and treasures. True ancestor Lian said angrily. Bah, this secret realm is obviously a secret realm owned by a friend of mine. Otherwise, how could we easily open the secret realm and the treasure house inside? You have occupied this place and robbed the resources here. You are going too far. Yi Tian retorted. The territory occupied by our Xixia sect is our Xixia sect's. True ancestor Lian said, although he also knows that this secret realm is really the secret realm of the woman, or the secret realm of the other sect, but now it belongs to their Xixia sect, and any treasures in it belong to their Xixia sect, and no one can snatch. Kill. True ancestor Lian attacked hard. However, his strength is still much weaker than Yi Tian. Fortunately, Yi Tian didn't have the intention to fight with him, otherwise, he might not be able to kill true ancestor Lian with all his strength. But the supreme ancestor of Xixia sect must be rushing over, so he didn't have time to kill Lian Junzu. The various Taoist techniques of true ancestor Lian are mainly based on bans, and they also use a ban-type Taoist tool. If Yi Tian is given time, he will definitely be able to break the ban easily. But now he and Lian Junzu are constantly fighting, and there is almost no time to break the ban. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, you can't escape. No matter how fast you are, you can't break the ban. Your speed is useless. Once the many supreme ancestors of our Xixia sect arrive, you will be dead. True ancestor Lian said with great joy. He knew that Yi Tian had some boundary stones on his body, and there must be some big secrets on his body. If he could kill Yi Tian, he might be able to go further. Moreover, this time Yi Tian took the initiative to invade their Xixia sect's territory. Even if he was killed, High Function would have nothing to say. It seems that it is necessary to use the 1,000 demons technique, the true spear of 10,000 demons. Yi Tian muttered. Immediately, he opened the Great Wilderness Dharma body, an amplifying type of 1,000 Dao technique, and held the Wansha true spear, which was condensed from the middle 1,000 Dao technique, and threw it fiercely. Puff! The real spear of Wansha runs through. True Ancestor Lian tried to block this attack, but was directly pierced by Wansha true spear, and he was seriously injured all of a sudden. The Wansha true spear was castrated unabated, bombarding the Taoist barrier. Boom! Forced to be banned, 357 Yi Tian used his heavenly gang speed to shuttle away. After leaving, True Ancestor Lian couldn't catch up at all. Damn, he actually mastered the 1,000 weight technique of the Wansha true spear. Lian True Ancestor said jealously. The Great Wilderness Dharma body plus the Wansha true spear, just these 2,000 path techniques alone have the ability to kill him. Shortly after, the 3 supreme true ancestors of Xixia sect have arrived. Lian, where is the enemy? Wangguang Junzu, one of the 3 most powerful ancestors, asked. Ran, True Ancestor Lian said helplessly. What, ran away? Wangguang Junzu sneered. Lian, you are also the supreme ancestor, and you are proficient in banning Taoism, so you can even let the enemy escape, and you don't even have the ability to stop it. Could it be that the enemy are the invincible true ancestor? The enemy is the true ancestor of all methods. The true ancestor Lian said. The opponent's strength is stronger than the strength he once showed in the glazed tile school, and he has also practiced the Zongqin Taoism Wansha true spear, which cooperates with the Great Wilderness Dharma body. He broke my blockade with a single blow, and he has also practiced the heavenly gang speed of the 1,000 Dao technique. I can't catch up at all. What, the true ancestor of all laws, damned fellow, let's go, let's enter his illusory kingdom. True ancestor Huang Guang said angrily. Do not impulse. Another Xian true ancestor discouraged. We are excavating an ancient ruin. That ancient ruin is a stronghold of the 8th heaven power where the domain was born. Once the excavation is successful, it will be of great help to our Xixia sect. At this time, we don't need to offend Haifeng Mountain, otherwise once Haifeng Mountain discovers the ruins, with their temperament, they will definitely come to destroy the opportunity. Well, let's wait for the ruins to be excavated, and then let's find the trouble of the true ancestor of all methods. The true ancestor of Huang Guang said. Chapter 1087 Emperor Pulp World. 3rd. Human Race. Yi Tian brought Ouyang Zhuor back, and as soon as he came back, he released Ouyang Zhuor from the universe within his body. Is it safe? As soon as Ouyang Zhuor came out, he asked. It's safe, we have returned to the human race. At present, the supreme ancestors of the Xixia sect have not come after them. However, this time my identity has been exposed, and I have completely offended a 7th layered power, which can be said to be a big loss. Ah, Yi Tian sighed, but his eyes were fixed on Ouyang Zhuor, as if he wanted Ouyang Zhuor to make up for some benefits. Ouyang Zhuor also felt a little sorry for Yi Tian, so he said, Brother Yi, I don't know what you need either, just tell me and see if I have it. Yi Tian moved in his heart and said, My true ancestor's power is very slow to improve. You also know that my true ancestor's power has taboo attributes, and the quality is very high, so the speed of improvement is very slow. In the big era, I also want to quickly improve the power of the true ancestor as soon as possible. Raise the power of the true ancestor quickly. Ouyang Zhuor pondered for a while, then said, I don't have many treasures that can improve the power of the true ancestor at present. In fact, your cultivation speed is very fast. If you want to do more to quickly improve the cultivation base, you can only go to the Emperor Pulp World. Emperor Pulp World? Yi Tian heard about this place for the first time, and was a little curious, and asked, Where is the Emperor Pulp World? Ouyang Zhuor said, The Emperor Serum Realm is a very mysterious world in the realm, in which the incomparably pure Emperor Serum flows, forming an endless ocean. The Emperor Serum is the most suitable treasure to enhance the power of the true ancestor. With the Emperor Serum, the cultivation speed will definitely increase many times. However, it is difficult for ordinary people to enter the Emperor Serum realm, and the Emperor Serum only allows the true ancestor to enter, and the Tao ancestor cannot enter. It is said that the Emperor Serum realm was opened up by the Lord of the Domain. A world is the welfare of the true ancestors. If the true ancestors want to enter the realm of the Emperor, they must hold the Emperor's decree. Originally, the Emperor's decree was a welfare distributed by the Tiandi Palace to the upper three heaven forces. But now, the realm as it was broken, and the Tiandi Palace did not seem to be born. I wonder if it did not enter the Daoshan realm with the fragments of the realm, or it was still hidden behind the scenes. Without the Emperor's milk order, it is impossible to enter the Emperor's realm. Heavenly Emperor Palace, Emperor Pulp Realm, that's how it turned out. Yi Tian understood. No wonder, he has never heard of the Emperor Jelly World. It turned out that the Emperor needs to issue the Emperor Jelly Decree before he can enter the Emperor Jelly World. The Heavenly Emperor Palace is the force established by the domain master of that domain, known as the Heavenly Army. The power of the Heavenly Emperor's Palace is far superior to those of the third-level heavenly powers. In short, the Tiandi Palace is very mysterious. And high function has not been rated as the upper third heaven power. I am afraid there is no Emperor Jelly order at all, otherwise a general like him would not be ignorant. But now, the Heavenly Emperor Palace has disappeared, and the Emperor's milk order is estimated to be gone. Where is the Emperor Pulp order now? Yi Tian asked. Some of the upper third heaven forces may still have a few pieces of Imperial Pulp order, and I also have one in my hand. When it was mentioned that he also had a piece in his hand, Ouyang Jur felt a little distressed in his heart. If it was in her previous life, she didn't care at all, but now she really needs it. Once she has entered the ranks of the true ancestors, she can enter the Emperor Pulp world, and her strength will be greatly increased. But this time Yi Tian offended a 7th level power for her, and a supreme true ancestor offended the 7th level power. This is life-threatening. Therefore, she was embarrassed not to give benefits. But she has only obtained the resources in a secret realm, and there are not many good things. The only thing that is considered a treasure for Yi Tian is the Emperor Jelly Ling. Then, can you give me this Imperial Jelly? Yi Tian asked shamelessly. He won't be embarrassed. If he can get good things from the reincarnation of the half-step ancestors, he will try his best to get some good things. If Ouyang Jor leaves in a day, where will he get these good things? Give you. Ouyang Jor took out the Imperial Jelly and handed it to Yi Tian. The Emperor's magma decree is crimson red, with strips on the front like small magma flows, and the back is like a palace, which represents the Tiandi Palace impressively. Yi Tian took the Imperial Pulp order and immediately put it away, for fear that Ouyang Jor would regret it. Jor, that world is promoted to the secret technique in the Tao of the Sword Handbook. Yi Tian asked in a low voice. Give you. Ouyang Jor took out the classics of the world's first-level promotion secret technique, as well as a copy of the Tao of the Blade Handbook of the Tao of the Supreme Tao of the Blade, all of which were given to Yi Tian. Yi Tian first carefully browsed the contents of the World Promotion Secret Technique, and soon his face changed. The World Promotion Secret Technique requires the power of the Dark Taboo. At the beginning, you should not know that I have mastered the power of the Dark Taboo. Are you cheating me with this thing? Yi Tian asked. Don't you happen to have mastered the Dark Taboo power now? This secret technique is very suitable for you. Ouyang Jor said calmly without blushing or beating. Yi Tian can't say anything. After all, this thing is indeed useful to him, but it is useless to other races. Originally, he thought he had obtained a secret technique that could change the fate of the human race. Thinking about it now, how could such a good thing happen? In addition, Ouyang Jor also gave the Tao of the Blade Handbook in the Emperor's Jelly Order, and he was embarrassed to say that Ouyang Jor was cheating on him. Thank you anyway, Yi Tian said. Ouyang Jor did not stay here any longer. After saying hello to Yi Tian, he left, obviously going to retreat to practice. Her current strength is too weak. Once she is not among the true ancestors, she will have no confidence, and in the ancient world of Xuanshu, it is too dangerous. After Ouyang Jor left, Yi Tian also entered a state of retreat, but told the Terran to guard the territory of the Terran at all times, and also asked the true ancestors of the true kingdom to help keep an eye on the Zixia sect. When Zhu entered the real country of virtual innocence, notify him immediately. After entering the retreat, Yi Tian comprehended the secrets of the Xian Tao of the sword contained in the Tao of the Blade Handbook, while cultivating the world to advance to the first level of the secret technique. This layer of secret technique is called Qi Tian secret technique. The core of Qishan secret technique is the power of darkness, which is integrated into the inner world with the power of darkness, so as to slowly transform the inner world, so that the rules of the inner world are constantly strengthened, so as to reach the standard of promotion. At the same time, many precious things need to be refined into the inner world, otherwise the inner world will not be nourished, and it will be difficult to be promoted successfully. Once the first level of the Qishan secret technique is practiced, the inner world will be comparable to that of the big universe. At that time, the power of the true ancestors that Yi Tian can store will be far greater than before, and the fighting stamina will be stronger, even as a whole. Strength can also be increased by 1 or 2%. With the acceleration of time, Yi Tian refined a large amount of resources, and used the dark taboo power to continuously refine the rules of the universe within the body, allowing the universe within the body to continuously evolve. Just like that, time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, millions of years have passed. At this time, the ancient world of Xuanshu also ushered in the peak of the prosperous world. For the domain forces, the strength has not increased much, but for the forces in the Daoshan domain, the strength has increased too much. Many forces have given birth to the top true ancestors one after another, just like the virtual real country. There were only 3 top true ancestors at the beginning, but now 8 top true ancestors have been born. There are also many top true ancestors born from the other 4 transcendental forces, and the Forbidden Palace has even given birth to a supreme true ancestor, and Daoshan also gave birth to a supreme true ancestor. Coupled with the fact that there are too many true ancestors of the Daoshan realm forces, the overall strength is far from comparable to when the Xuanshu ancient realm was just born. The strength of the Daoshan realm skyrocketed, and gradually began to think about the realm forces. Human race, Yi Tian retreats. At this moment, Yi Tian has also ended the retreat, and he has improved a lot. Good Li Jiao. The first layer of the Qishan secret technique has been practiced, and the universe in the body is much larger than before, tens of thousands of times larger, and the power of the true ancestor that can be accommodated is far greater than that of the Black Wind territory technique. The power is also much stronger than before. My overall strength has suddenly increased by at least 20%. It's a pity, I don't have much insight into the Tao of the Blade Handbook, so far I only have a glimmer of inspiration, and I don't even have a clue. Yi Tian sighed. Of course, this is not because his understanding is not good. In fact, his understanding is already very high, but his realm is too low, and his original understanding of the Tao of the Blade is not enough. Zushin Daozu can grasp a trace of the super strong kendo, because the original Zushin Daozu has been comprehending the kendo for countless years. The background is many times stronger than Yi Tian, and he saw the trace of a sword of the super strong kendo, and with the help of special secret treasures after comprehending the sword marks, it took a long time to realize the light of wisdom, and realized a little bit of fur. This is still relying on a certain amount of luck. If it is done all over again, Zushin Daozu can't guarantee that he will succeed in enlightenment. Don't be in a hurry, wait until you come back from the Emperor Pulp world, and then try your best to comprehend the Tao of the Blade handwriting. You can definitely comprehend a little mystery. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 1088. The storm is coming. Fourth more. A few days later, Yi Tian took out the Imperial Jelly Decree and was about to enter the Imperial Jelly world. He had already refined the Emperor Potion Order, poured the power of the true ancestor into it, and then activated the Emperor Potion Order. Boom! The Emperor's jelly burst into a dazzling light, communicating with a world in the dark. This world seems to be very far away, and it seems to be very close. Go in. Yi Tian's body was wrapped by the Emperor Jelly Order and entered the Emperor Jelly world. Emperor Pulp world. Yi Tian came here and saw the endless ocean of Emperor Slurry, but also saw countless void cracks all over the Emperor Slurry world, and the chaotic rules are all over here. Obviously, the domain boundary was broken, and even the Emperor Pulp world was seriously affected. Whoa! A path of spiritual consciousness suddenly came across and found Yi Tian. Yi Tian also sensed the power of these unfamiliar divine senses. Obviously, he is not the only one in the Emperor's Pulp world, there are at least 10 true ancestors. It is very normal to have other true ancestors here. After all, under normal circumstances, Emperor Slime World allows a person to cultivate for millions of years, but cannot use the law of time. The rules here are very special and completely block other rules from the outside world. Of course, even if it doesn't take time to accelerate, the speed of cultivation far exceeds that of the outside world. Every drop of Emperor's serum here is considered a supreme treasure in the outside world, but unfortunately it cannot be taken out. Once taken out, the energy contained in the Emperor's serum will dissipate 357% and become an ordinary liquid substance. Yi Tian ignored these true ancestors. Those true ancestors sensed Yi Tian and did not come to ask for trouble. Everyone in the Emperor's Sorrel realm took the time to practice and enjoy the fun and excitement of rapidly improving their cultivation. Where would they find other true ancestors? Trouble, unless 2 true ancestors who have a great feud between life and death meet, they will fight each other. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, no one will deliberately find fault. Moreover, it is not easy to obtain the true ancestors of the Emperor's Jelly. Basically, they are the true ancestors of the upper third heaven forces. Once they offend, they will not benefit themselves. Yi Tian found an area at will, released the palace with him, and began to retreat and practice, absorbing a large amount of Emperor Serum, refining it and enhancing the power of the true ancestor. In the process of refining the Emperor's slurry, Yi Tian discovered that the Emperor's slurry was actually a source of energy, but it was forcibly condensed into the Emperor's slurry by the ancestors and kept in the Emperor's slurry world. And the rules of the Emperor's pulp world are slowly refining the energy from the outside world and transforming it into the Emperor's pulp. Therefore, theoretically speaking, the Emperor's serum in the Emperor's serum realm can never be exhausted. But this kind of method is not something that Daozu can do, and only Yuzu has this amazing method. It is conceivable how easy it is for a legendary force to cultivate a true ancestor. It is estimated that any legendary force has a large number of supreme and invincible true ancestors. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian has been cultivating in the Emperor Pulp world. Of course, he also made arrangements for the Terran, and gave a lot of resources to ask the generals of the Black Wind Mountain to take care of the Terran. If the human race is not in danger, those generals do not need to take action. But once the supreme ancestor attacks the human race, those generals will take action. This is a private act, does not involve Montenegro, and is therefore permitted. If someone spends a huge price to protect a small force for a period of time, he will do it too. It is precisely because the human race is not in danger that he will enter the Emperor's serum to cultivate with confidence. He felt that this time he returned from the Emperor's pulp world, and his strength might really be expected to enter the ranks of the invincible true ancestors. Although he was not the invincible true ancestor of the Blood Evil General, he was definitely not weaker than the general invincible true ancestors. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian's true ancestor's power was rapidly improving, his physical strength was also rapidly increasing, and his overall strength was improving steadily and rapidly. In the blink of an eye, millions of years have passed. At this time, Yi Tian's cultivation has been raised from the middle stage of the avenue to the peak realm of the late stage of the avenue, and it is not very far from the perfection realm of the avenue. Practice at the true ancestor level is really too difficult. No wonder many true ancestors have cultivated for many Cosmos-era years, and there is no way to improve their cultivation to the great Tao perfection realm. Fortunately, I have entered the Emperor's serum realm this time, otherwise I would like to cultivate it. To rise to this state, I am afraid it will take hundreds of millions of years of cultivation. Yi Tian sighed. In addition to the cultivation base rising to the peak realm of the late Tao, Yi Tian's forbidden body has also grown, and the forbidden body has been tempered to the level of 25%. No way, after the forbidden body reaches 20%, it will take a long time to temper a small step. Secondly, there are the three major techniques of the selfless vacuum, the true spear of 10,000 evils, and the extreme speed of Tiangong, which have also reached the realm of minor achievement, as only one step away from the realm of Dacheng, but this step is difficult to cross the past. According to my estimation, my current combat power has reached the ranks of the invincible true ancestors CJFI. If the invincible true ancestors are divided into three levels, ordinary, elite, and top, I am afraid that I am the common top true ancestor, and the blood evil generals can be divided into top invincible ancestors, the kind that are truly invincible. Yi Tian muttered. The strength has improved so much, Yi Tian is already very satisfied. Soon, the time has come. Yi Tian was expelled from the Emperor Jelly realm and returned to the human race territory. After returning, Yi Tian learned about the situation of the human race. At present, some true ancestors have been born in the human race. Xiao Yu and Yi Yu have also stepped into the ranks of half-step true ancestors, and Yi Tian's Juji Legion has also made great progress, giving birth to 6 true ancestors. In other words, Yi Tian now has 6 true ancestors under his command. These subordinate legions are very loyal to Yi Tian, all of them are geniuses who have made the vow of life, otherwise Yi Tian will not be vigorously cultivated. With these true monarchs, Yi Tian can leave many small things to them, so he doesn't have to worry about it. In addition, Yi Tian also learned that Ouyang Jor had also entered the ranks of the true ancestor, and the speed of cultivation shocked many human geniuses. At the beginning, Xiao Yu was the top true monarch, and Ouyang Jor was the true monarch in the initial stage of true spirit. Today, Xiao Yu is the half-step true ancestor, but Ouyang Jor is already the true ancestor. Xiao Yu's talent is now a top genius in the entire ancient world of Xuanxu, and Ouyang Jor's growth rate is simply too monstrous, even more terrifying than the original Yi Tian. Others were very puzzled and curious, but Yi Tian felt very normal. After all, this is the reincarnation of the half-step ancestor. With sufficient resources, how can the progress not be fast? However, after Ouyang Juer became the true ancestor, he still did not leave the human race, and seemed to regard the human race as home. In this regard, Yi Tian did not urge the other party to leave. This day, Shu Tianzhengguo informed Yi Tian about something, which made Yi Tian feel the signs that the storm was about to come. The 5 transcendental forces are going to attack the domain forces. Yi Tian was surprised, and their courage was too big. Of course, they didn't dare to attack the Triple Heaven forces, it was purely for death, and the target they shot was the Triple Heaven forces. Almost all of the Triple Heaven forces in the domain have perished, and only a few Triple Heaven forces have survived, but those 3 Triple Heaven forces basically have backers, otherwise they will not be able to survive. Splitting Heaven sect, the Triple Heaven force, was almost breached by many true monarchs at the beginning, but this Triple Heaven force was not weak at all. It is the 5th layer of heaven power, Zantianzong. It is not difficult for the 5 transcendental forces to destroy the sky-splitting sect. The excuse is that the true ancestors of the sky-splitting sect were forcibly born and killed too many true monarchs and geniuses. Therefore, the 5 transcendental forces took revenge on the grounds of revenge against the splitting heaven faction. This is a superficial excuse. The real purpose is to draw out Zantianzong, so as to start against Zantianzong, destroy Zantianzong, and seek their resources and treasures. This move is very risky, and it is easy to touch the nerves of other realm forces, but the strength of Daoshan realm has to do it. If it can't develop quickly, after the promotion of Xuanshu ancient realm in the future, the Dao ancestors will wake up and be born, and the Dao mountain realm will be finished. Therefore, the Taoist ancestors in the Daoshan realm want to grow up quickly with the help of the resources and inheritance of the ancient world of Xuanshu, thus giving birth to the 5th and even the 6th heavenly Taoist ancestors. The Zantian sect has only one 5th level heavenly Dao patriarch. In the future, the Dao patriarchs of the Zantian sect will not be afraid of the 5 transcendental forces. Therefore, they chose Zantianzong. Chapter 1089 Goal: Destroy the Split Heaven faction. 5th. Yi Tian also expressed his understanding of the actions of the 5 transcendental forces and many top forces to jointly deal with Zantianzong. Everyone wants to go further, and the Taoist ancestors of the 5 transcendental forces naturally want to go further. Therefore, it is necessary to take a little risk, even if it pays some price for it. I'm afraid this time, a large number of true ancestors will fall in the Daoshan realm. Yi Tian muttered. He is not going to participate, not because he doesn't want to help Zutianzhengguo, but because he has offended the Zixia sect. If he participates in such a battle and involves the Zixia sect, the 5 transcendental forces will be completely in trouble. Besides, the 5 transcendental forces have enough confidence to fight this battle. It doesn't matter whether he participates or not. If he shows the strength of the invincible true ancestor and leads others, the other 4 transcendental forces may not be happy. Because the stronger he is, the more benefits the representative gets. Besides, he doesn't want to reveal his strength at the moment. Therefore, he is ready to give up participating in this matter and choose to guard the kingdom of virtual innocence. Hall of Fake Heaven. The 7 top true ancestors including Shui true ancestor started the meeting together. At the meeting, the true ancestor Shui said, "Not long ago, the true ancestor Wanfa sent a message that he would not participate in this battle. The reason he gave was to offend the Zixia sect, and he was afraid that he would join us in dealing with the forces of the domain, will involve the Zixia sect. 1. If the true ancestor of Wanfa does not come, we do not have the strongest true ancestor in the Zushan temple. Can't it compare with the 2 transcendent forces of the Forbidden Temple in Daoshan?" Another top true ancestor frowned. "But the true ancestor of Wanfa doesn't come, I can't do anything. Since he delegated power, he has hardly come to the Hall of Void Heaven. It seems that we can't count on him anymore, we can only rely on ourselves." Shooting Moon true ancestor rode. In fact, if Yi Tian does not come, the greatest benefit can be occupied by himself, otherwise the greatest benefit will belong to Yi Tian. The only downside is that they don't have the true ancestor to sit in, so they are easily targeted by the true ancestor, and there is no one to support them. After half a month, the true ancestors of the 5 transcendental forces of the Void Heaven lineage, the Star-Horned Beast clan, the Chaos Life Alliance, the Forbidden Temple, and the Dao Mountain gathered together, and the other top forces also sent many true ancestors one by one. Of course, not all the major forces have been dispatched, and only 2 million true ancestors have been dispatched in total. The major forces don't want to fight all the battle strength in one battle, or even if they gain a lot, the true ancestors are gone, how can they protect their gains? Among the 2 million true ancestors, there are 2 supreme true ancestors, nearly 200 top true ancestors, 200,000 elite true ancestors, and 1.8 million ordinary true ancestors. Such a lineup is enough to easily flatten the split heaven faction, and even the Zontian sect can hardly compete with so many true ancestors. However, they were also afraid that Zon Tianzong would force Daozu to wake up. In that case, they would suffer heavy losses. Of course, they also prepared a lot of cards to deal with various situations. Even if there is a big loss, it will not shake the foundation of the major forces. But to deal with a mere sky-splitting faction, naturally you don't need such a luxurious lineup of 2 million true ancestors. Once such a lineup is revealed, I am afraid that even Zontianzong will be too scared to send someone over. Therefore, after the negotiation of the major forces, only tens of thousands of true ancestors were sent to the heaven-splitting sect, while other true ancestors spied on secretly, and in the event of an accident they would forcibly descend upon the true ancestor army. Split sky. Today, there are only tens of thousands of true ancestors in the entire sect, most of which are ordinary true ancestors, and quite a few are true ancestors who were promoted by natives. After all, the sky-splitting sect is too weak to survive some true ancestors after traversing the dark forbidden area, which is already very remarkable. The entire sky-splitting sect is now led by the top true ancestor Fengyu true ancestor, and the sky-splitting faction has only 3 top true ancestors, which looks very miserable. Certainly, even so, as the top tier of the triple heaven forces, the sky-splitting faction still has some background, and the general fourth heaven forces have to pay a heavy price to destroy them. Now, true ancestor Fengyu was a little flustered, as if something bad was about to happen. Suddenly, a true ancestor came to report. True ancestor Fengyu found that a large number of true ancestors are close to our heaven-splitting sect. Hearing this news, Fengyu Junzu was a little flustered. Quick, start the guardian formation. True ancestor Fengyu said quickly. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of true ancestors from the major forces in the Daoshan realm descended outside the sky-splitting sect. The incarnation of Fengyu true ancestor appeared outside the splitting sky sect, looking directly at the army of tens of thousands of true ancestors on the opposite side, and said with fear, "What is the accident, everyone? Why did you come to our splitting sky sect?" Among the tens of thousands of true ancestors, a representative came out, and he was the top true ancestor Yuyun true ancestor. True ancestor Yuyun said, "You are the true ancestor of Fengyu from the sky-splitting sect. Back then, your heaven-splitting sect forcibly awakened more than a dozen true ancestors and killed too many true monarchs of our major forces, and one of mine the descendants of the bloodline fell in that battle, and today I am here to take revenge." What Yuyun Junzu said was true. One of his bloodline descendants did fall into the battle, but that bloodline descendant had a very distant relationship with him, and he had never even seen it. But in any case, this is an excuse to be able to make a move. You guys are too embarrassed to say this. If you didn't attack our heaven-splitting sect's gate, wouldn't we forcibly send a dozen forbidden disciples? You just lost some true monarchs, but our heaven-splitting sect lost a lot of resources and the lives of several true ancestors. Fengyu true ancestor said angrily. However, the true ancestor Yuyun retorted, "The fallen true monarchs are all geniuses of the major forces, and each of them has the hope of impacting the true ancestor. If he is still alive, I am afraid that tens of thousands of true ancestors could have been born long ago." "You are so unreasonable," true ancestor Fengyu roared. True ancestor Yuyun pressed step by step, threatening in a cold voice, "Today, I will give you 2 options for splitting the sky. One is to apologize and hand over all the inheritance and treasures, and the other is to destroy the family." "For flowers. Are you serious about threatening us with the sky-splitting faction?" 1 inch. True ancestor Fengyu asked with a cold light in his eyes. "Really?" True ancestor Yuyun replied, all right, I'll see it today, destroy us to the heaven." When true ancestor Fengyu spoke, he had already sent a message to Zon Tianzong. After all, they are one of the sects under the Zontian sect and are protected by the Zontian sect. The other side, after Zon Tianzong got the news, he rushed over with tens of thousands of true ancestors. Although the number was not many, the quality was high. Among the tens of thousands of true ancestors, there are 10 top true ancestors, and all the others are elite true ancestors. Such a force is enough to protect the sky-splitting faction. Boom! The fight has begun. Tens of thousands of true ancestors attacked the heaven-splitting faction in unison, and no matter how strong the great array was, it was difficult to stop the tens of thousands of true ancestors. Therefore, the true ancestors of the sky-splitting sect joined the battlefield and fought with tens of thousands of true ancestors. At this time, the Splitting Heaven faction, at all costs, used all kinds of trump cards, just to kill more true ancestors. But the Sky-Splitting faction does not have an advantage in numbers, nor does the top true ancestors have an advantage. Among the tens of thousands of true ancestors, there are 6 top true ancestors. Therefore, the Sky-Splitting faction is completely at a disadvantage. More and more true ancestors have fallen, but very few true ancestors have fallen from the major forces, and only a few unlucky true ancestors have been killed. Damn, when the reinforcements from Tianzong arrive, you will all die. True ancestor Feng Yu thought to himself while resisting the siege of several top true ancestors. As time passed, the battle became more and more intense. Suddenly, the void split open, and reinforcements from Tianzong arrived. Dare to invade the Sky-Splitting sect, you are courting death. One of the top true ancestors of Zontian sect, Badian true ancestor, said coldly. I saw the arrival of the 10,000 true ancestors of the Zontian sect, and the situation suddenly reversed. In the dark, Shui true ancestor and a group of true ancestors looked at each other and said, it's time for us to play. The densely packed true ancestors came to tear apart the space, and they soon occupied the void of the Sky-Splitting sect. This time, hundreds of thousands of true monarchs have descended on them, and such a huge number has completely dumbfounded the true ancestors of the Sky-Splitting sect and the Zontian sect. Zontianzong, you dare to help the Splitting sect to kill our true ancestor. Today our major forces and your Zontianzong will never die. 1. The true ancestor of the Forbidden Palace, the true ancestor of Blood Jade, said. Kill. Hundreds of thousands of true ancestors killed the true ancestors of the Split Sky sect and the Zontian sect. This was not a fight, but a massacre. True ancestor Feng Yu wanted to escape, but was shot through with an arrow by true ancestor Shui, and then was crushed to pieces by true ancestor of Blood Jade, and died on the spot. I saw that the true ancestors of the Sky-Splitting sect and the Zontian sect had fallen, and even the top true ancestors could not resist the siege of many top true ancestors, and they soon fell and died one by one. You are a conspiracy. Just because you want to deal with our Zontian sect, don't even think about it. The true ancestor of Badian roared before his death. Chapter 1090 Zishao Leiju. First update. Battle Tianzong. As a 5-layered power, the Zontian sect is not weaker than the Glazed Tile sect. Today, the entire sect also has one supreme true ancestor and dozens of top true ancestors, and the number of other true ancestors has reached as many as 300,000. Although compared to the peak period, Tianzong is far from inferior, but it has also recovered a lot of strength. As the supreme true ancestor of the chief true biography of Zontian sect, the true ancestor of Cold Eyes, he is a little anxious at this moment. Just now, he sent a group of true ancestors to rescue the Sky-Splitting sect, but they couldn't get in touch. Clearly, there are forces covering up the message. After all, it is not difficult to block the transmission of the message with 2 spaces apart, so it can be seen that something has happened. I want to see, which force dares to provoke our Zontian sect? The cold-eyed true ancestor said angrily. Immediately, he performed a pupil technique, and his eyes released a cold light, looking at the battlefield space where the Sky-Splitting sect was located through the layers of space. Boom! The void cracked open, and a tragic picture emerged in front of him. It was a piece of corpses, all of which were the corpses of the Heaven-Splitting sect and Zontian sect's true, 357, ancestors, and he also saw many familiar faces. This moment, the cold-eyed true ancestor was completely angry. He thought that the true ancestors he sent out were just in trouble, but he did not expect them to be beheaded. That is tens of thousands of true ancestors. Boom! A finger suddenly protruded from the void, shattering his pupil technique with a single blow. Soon, the space where Tianzong was located began to ripple. A large number of true ancestors came one by one, and the densely packed true ancestors appeared one after another, completely surrounding the Zontian sect. After a while, nearly 2 million true ancestors gathered in front of the Tianzong mountain gate. Looking at so many true ancestors, many true monarchs and heavenly monarchs of Zontian sect were terrified and seemed to want to leave Zontian sect. However, it's too late. The cold-eyed true ancestor stared at so many true ancestors, and his heart was also very panic. He has now recognized the identities of these true ancestors, who are the true ancestors of the major forces in the Daoshan realm, and the other party has joined forces. If it is a single force, Tianzong is not afraid at all, and does not even take it seriously. Even before that, he didn't put the Daoshan realm forces in his eyes. He only cared about the other middle and upper third heaven forces, and he didn't care about the Daoshan realm forces at all. Unexpectedly, these forces have joined forces to enter the Zontian sect. Everyone, your Daoshan realm is too daring. If you dare to attack our Zontian sect, you are not afraid of angering those upper third heaven forces? The cold-eyed true ancestor asked. The blood jade true ancestor of the Forbidden Temple said coldly, our major forces have hatred with the sky-splitting sect. We originally only wanted to destroy the sky-splitting sect, but I didn't expect your Zontian sect to get involved and kill many of our true ancestors. The great forces will never die with your Zongtianzong. Today, your Zongtianzong will either hand over all your resources and inheritance, or wait for the sect to be destroyed. The same words, the same routines, although bad, but very applicable. It's just an excuse anyway, don't care if it's rotten or not. The cold-eyed true ancestor laughed out loud, and he understood it completely. The major forces in the Daoshan realm have their eyes on their Zontian sect, or their heritage and treasures, so they united. Our Zontian sect is also a very old sect. At its peak, it reached the 6th level power, and now a large number of Taoist ancestors are asleep. Just relying on you, if you want to destroy our Zontian sect, I am afraid you will need to pay a lot. The price, is it worth it? The cold-eyed true ancestor discouraged. Worth, the true ancestor of Blood Jade said. Oh for. The momentum of the 2 million true ancestors shrouded, pressing the Zontian sect protector array to creak. Looking at this scene, the cold-eyed true ancestor closed his eyes, knowing that this battle could not be avoided. But Zong Tianzong will never admit defeat easily. Even if the mountain gate is destroyed, it will pay a heavy price to these Daoshan realm forces. Flee as soon as possible below the true ancestor, all above the true ancestor fight. The cold-eyed true ancestor ordered. In an instant, the battle begins. Yi Tian stayed in the true kingdom of Void Heaven. Although he did not participate in the battle to besiege Zong Tianzong, he was also paying attention to this battle. He dispatched a team of soldiers from the 9 Extremes Corps to observe the situation of the battle, reporting them all the time, so as to grasp the first-hand information. Soon, a group of information came in. The battle has already begun. Yi Tian muttered. As time passed, the specific battle situation of the battle was also passed on. At the beginning, Zong Tianzong suffered heavy losses, a large number of true ancestors fell and died, those true monarchs and heavenly monarchs could not escape at all, and the aftermath of the battle wiped out all of them. But soon, a 4th-level Taoist ancestor of Zong Tianzong was forcibly awakened. Although he could only exert the combat power of the 2nd-level Taoist ancestor, he also inflicted heavy damage on the coalition forces of the major forces, and one of the top real ancestors was instantly killed on the spot. However, in the end, the major forces used their trump cards to trap the Taoist ancestor, dragging the time forcibly, so that the Taoist ancestor was constantly suppressed by the rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu, and finally the power was reduced to the level of the 1st-level Taoist ancestor and was defeated by a superpower. Ancestor and several top true ancestors were besieged to death. Being able to sacrifice a 4th-level heavenly Tao ancestor is already the biggest bottom line of Zontian sect. They dare not sacrifice the 4th-level heavenly Tao ancestor, and the 3rd-level heavenly Tao ancestor and the 2nd-level heavenly Tao ancestor are useless to wake up, and the 1st-level heavenly Tao ancestor dare not wake up. After waking up, he couldn't stop the rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu, and he had to die as soon as he came out. In the end, Zong Tianzong Shanman was forced. But an accident happened. A treasure of the Zontian sect was motivated by a top true ancestor of the Zontian sect, and an infinite thunder column exploded in a self-destructing way, killing tens of thousands of the true ancestors in seconds. Yes, the true ancestor of Daoshan was directly killed by the explosion. At the same time, the 100,000 true ancestors were injured to varying degrees, and half of the Zontian sect was destroyed, and countless treasures and inheritances were destroyed. Many true ancestors do not know what that treasure is, but Yi Tian has a guess. If there is no guess, it should be Zishao Leiju, a one-time treasure that seals Zishao Chaos Divine Thunder. Yi Tian guessed. This kind of Zishao Thunder Orb is rumored to be that after the Supreme Ancestor of the Thunder Department found the Zishao Chaos Divine Thunder, he used the power of the Supreme Tao Ancestor to ban it into a special thunder bead, thus creating such a one-time weapon. It is rumored that the Zixia sect has the Purple Sky Thunder Pearl, but it is also one of the precious cards handed down from the ancient times, because the Zixia sect was an 8-layered power in the ancient times and had a true ancestor of the strongest thunder system. It's a pity that the supreme true ancestor later fell, causing Zixia sect to fall and become the 7th heavenly power. But Zishao Leiju is a trump card in the 7th heavenly forces like Zishao sect, so why does Zontian sect have it? What Yi Tian didn't know was that the Zixia sect once sold a lot of Zhixiao Leiju for the Bajongtian forces, and the Zontian sect bought one as one of the sect's trump cards. For a long time, Zon Tianzong has never used this treasure. This time, Zon Tianzong's mountain gate was forced. How could he manage so much, and thus directly detonated the Zhixiao Leiju? The Zon Tianzong was destroyed, and the major forces in the Daoshan realm suffered heavy losses. The most unfortunate one belonged to Daoshan. The loss of the Zushan lineage this time is not small, and many true ancestors have fallen, but from the perspective of gains, it is enough to make up for the loss. Certainly, those high-ranking Taoist ancestors don't necessarily care about these losses, they just want to get useful inheritance and treasures so that they can improve their strength. 5.8. Yi Tian is very fortunate that he did not participate in this battle, otherwise, if he was bombarded by Purple Sauvignon Lightning Pearl, the taboo body without Xiaocheng might not be able to resist. At that time, if he does not die, I am afraid that he will suffer extremely severe injuries, and it will take a long time to recover. Yi Tian originally thought that this matter was over for the time being, but he underestimated the influence of this matter, and even the major transcendental forces underestimated the influence of this matter. In fact, the domain forces are all connected to each other, and it is not that there are no forces that have good relations with the Zontian sect. With the intelligence of the Daoshan domain, a lot of information is difficult to find out. For example, this time, a 6th layered power and 3 5th layered powers have a very good relationship with Zontianzong, and the sleeping Taoist ancestors of Zontianzong woke up and contacted these 4 forces through a special secret method. They retaliate against the major forces in the Daoshan realm. Since then, the 10th day of Zong Tianzong's forced sect. A top power was destroyed in the real kingdom of the ancient world of Xuanshu, and countless creatures fell. This top power is the Xuanian sect. Chapter 1091 Ancient Ruins. 2nd. The Xuanian sect is not weak, although it is far inferior to the Zushan lineage, and it is not as good as the top powers such as the Giant Axe City, the Chaos Firm, and the Mercenary Alliance, but it has hundreds of thousands of true ancestors, including 3 top true ancestors. However, such a top power was wiped out in a short period of time. Not only the true ancestor was almost wiped out, but even the real kingdom of Xuanian was shattered, and countless creatures fell. It was the 6th Heavenly Force Tianling sect and the 5th Heavenly Force Wusho sect, the 5th Heavenly Force Red Lotus Palace, and the 5th Heavenly Force Shanyan Pavilion. These forces acted together and destroyed the Xuanian sect in a short period of time, leaving the Xuanian sect with no time to ask for help, and even no way to escape. It can be said that the foundation of Xuanian sect in the ancient world of Xuanshu has completely disappeared. Now, the Xuanian sect in the chaotic realm of Daoshan was extremely angry and lost hundreds of thousands of true ancestors. What a tragic loss. This time, the future hope of Xuanian sect was completely ruined, and it was basically eliminated by this great era, and there was no way to compete with other forces in the future. Several Taoist ancestors of Xuanian sect were very angry, and they wished to enter the ancient world of Xuanshu and rush to the gates of those major forces. It is a pity that Daozu cannot enter the ancient world of Xuanshu at all, and it is useless to forcibly come to incarnate. The Xuanian sect was destroyed, and other forces were terrified. Originally, according to the plans of the major forces, as long as a suitable excuse is found, destroying a Zontian sect should have little effect, and it will not cause the domain forces to attack them. But they underestimated the relationship between Zon Tianzong and the other 29 forces, and as long as a few middle and third heaven forces unite, they are not afraid of the many big forces in the Daoshan realm. There are indeed many true ancestors in the Dao Mountain realm, but there are too few top true ancestors and supreme true ancestors, which is a flaw. Once a number of Zeon true ancestors start to attack and kill, all the major forces will fall into fear. And the destruction of Xuanian sect this time is a warning. If the major forces dare to unite against them, there will be more top major forces destroyed. Of course, the Heavenly Spirit sect and several other middle-level 3-level heaven forces would not dare to destroy another force, otherwise the major top forces would be willing to join forces at all costs, not to mention the gathering of 2 million true ancestors, even if they were to gather 20 million true ancestors. Get together. Once that time comes, if the Heavenly Spirit sect does not escape, it will be wiped out. Therefore, after the Heavenly Spirit sect and the other 3 5-layered heavenly forces destroyed the Xuanian sect, they sent a warning notice to the major forces. The Heavenly Spirit sect will not really take full revenge on the major forces, and they are not stupid. Unless all the forces of the middle and third layers of heaven are dispatched, all the forces in the ancient world of Xuanshu in the Daoshan realm can be destroyed. The real country of virtual innocence, the territory of the human race. Yi Tian learned about the situation after Xuanian sect was destroyed, and couldn't help but murmured, Tianlingzong shot, it is estimated that it is not necessarily to fight for Tianzong, maybe this is just one of the reasons. Maybe there is a third heaven. The forces let Tianlingzong act on their behalf to suppress the major forces. As for why the upper three heaven forces did not take action in person, it was because of fear. There is no way, there are too many true ancestors in the Daoshan realm. If you go all out, it will not be difficult to destroy one or two upper third level forces, but the price is too high. Therefore, the upper third level forces will allow the sixth level forces to suppress the forces in the Daoshan realm. As long as the forces in the Daoshan realm do not unite, it will be a pile of scattered sand and a pile of ants. To create fear and make it difficult for the major forces to unite completely, this is the purpose of Tianlingzong and others. Many forces may have seen this, but they can't break the situation. After all, each force's ideas are different, and many forces are afraid that they will be involved again, and the next one to be destroyed will be themselves. Therefore, the major forces suspend cooperation and dare not attack the Zongsan heavenly forces again. The current situation seems to have stabilized again, but Yi Tian is very clear that in the near future, the Daoshan realm and the realm forces will eventually fight again and again. In the end, the two forces are no longer divided into each other, all belong to the forces of the ancient Xuanshu world, and there is no faction. But the price of this is that many forces perish one after another, leaving only a group of the strongest forces and a group of affiliated forces. In the following days, there will be many small frictions in the ancient world of Xuanshu, but there will be no major wars. However, the strength of the Daoshan realm is growing, while the strength of the middle and upper third heaven forces is progressing slowly. After all, they have already reached a peak, how difficult it is to go further. Therefore, these middle-level and upper-level three-level forces can only recruit some more geniuses and cultivate some more true ancestors. Before you know it, millions of years have passed in the ancient world of Xuanshu. This day, Ouyang Zhu'er came to Yi Tian to discuss a matter. Zhu'er, what are you looking for from me? Yi Tian asked. Ouyang Zhu'er said mysteriously, good thing. There is a big advantage, do you want to do it? What's the benefit? Yi Tian moved in his heart and asked quickly. Being able to be called a benefit by Ouyang Zhu'er is definitely not an ordinary benefit. An ancient relic is an ancient relic of the domain. The preliminary judgment is that it was a branch of a Zhouzhangtian power a long time ago, and it is of great value. Ouyang Zhu'er said. Where did you get the news? Yi Tian asked curiously. The news I got from Tianlingzong. Ouyang Zhu'er said. Not long ago, the ancient world of Xuanshu was very lively, and Tianlingzong also destroyed Xuanianzong. I went to Tianlingzong to see the excitement, and found that it turns out that Tianlingzong is an affiliated force of Xixiazong, but no one knows about it. I saw that in a relic space of Tianlingzong, many true ancestors of Xixiazong were excavating a ruin. If you dare to approach, you will be back. You haven't been discovered? Yi Tian asked quickly. Naturally I haven't been discovered, just because they want to find me easily. Ouyang Zhu'er showed a look of disdain, and immediately said, I know a way of hiding whereabouts, called the shadowless walk, which can't be seen while walking. Leaving cause and effect, leaving no traces, not touching any rules and formations. The only flaw is that it is impossible to hide the Taoist ancestors who are higher than me, and if you observe closely, you can still see through the shadowless steps. Can you give me such an awesome Tao technique? Yi Tian said in a heartbeat. I only have one inheritance, I've used it up, and I'm just getting started, so I can't create an inheritance for you. Ouyang Zhu'er explained. Pity. Yi Tian was regretful on the surface, but in his heart he knew that Ouyang Zhu'er was unwilling to teach him the shadowless walk. But if you think about it, it's right. He has nothing to do with Ouyang Zhu'er, so why teach him the shadowless God trail? He knows a lot of Taoism, and he didn't teach Ouyang Zhu'er, and he didn't give 357 to Ouyang Zhu'er for many treasures on his body. Thinking of this, Yi Tian was much calmer. Next, the two discussed and prepared to sneak into the ancient ruins. Before the action, Yi Tian learned about Ouyang Zhu'er's strength. The opponent's strength progress was exaggerated. Now he is the top true ancestor, and he is proficient in life-saving methods, so it is difficult for ordinary super strong ancestors to hurt her. And Yi Tian also showed his strength. The invincible true ancestor's combat power made Ouyang Zhu'er pale in shock, and kept amazed by Yi Tian's rapid progress. In the past, it was Yi Tian who took Ouyang Zhu'er to act, but this time it was Ouyang Zhu'er who took Yi Tian to act. I saw Ouyang Zhu'er taking Yi Tian to perform the shadowless step. The two walked in the virtual sky, walked out of the real country of virtual sky, and encountered many true ancestors along the way, but none of the true ancestors found out their traces. Yi Tian was even more moved by witnessing such a Dao technique with his own eyes. The two passed through one territory after another, and finally came to a space under the command of Tianlingzong. The way was smooth and unobstructed, and the two came to a place not very far from the ancient ruins. They looked in the direction of the ruins and saw that the Zixia sect had dispatched many true ancestors to guard the periphery. Yi Tian probed for a while, and estimated the combat power of the outer guard. At least 2 supreme true ancestors and 30 top true ancestors, as well as tens of thousands of elite true ancestors patrolling, the Zixia sect is very powerful here. Besides, there are a large number of heavenly spirits outside the space Zhang Junzu is guarding. If it weren't for your shadowless steps, the general ancestors couldn't get close to here at all. Yi Tian transmits sound. Well, I'm still great. Ouyang Jor said with a smile. Chapter 1092 True Ancestor Leo. 3rd. Jor, do you know which ancient power relic is this? It should have perished, otherwise this relic would not have been excavated by the Zixia sect. Yi Tian asked. Not very clear, Ouyang Jor said. The history of the realm is too long, and even the realm owner has changed several times. The world lord has changed several times. Could it be that those domain ancestors have fallen? Yi Tian was very curious about such a secret. Ouyang Jor shook his head and said, some have fallen, and some have entered the dark forbidden realm. There are many realms in the realm of God and heaven, and this realm has actually changed many names, basically following the contemporary realm masters. The name of the last realm master is called Hao Hai Sea Ancestor, and there is another title called Hao Hai Heavenly Emperor. Because this domain is called Hao Hai Sea Realm. From Ouyang Jor's mouth, Yi Tian also learned that there are still many dark ages in the long history of the Hao Hai Sea Realm, that is, the times without domain ancestors. The value of a domain is very great, even the ancestors of the domain will be moved. Although the domain ancestor can create a domain, it requires a great price and countless resources, and a mature domain is far from being comparable to the domain that has just been created. Therefore, many people will frantically fight for the position of the world master. And once you become a realm master, the chances of becoming a realm ancestor will be much higher in the future. After all, you have mastered the resources of a realm, and how fast is your growth rate? It is conceivable that the Hao Hai Sea realm has even changed many boundary masters, so I don't know how many forces in the Hao Hai Sea realm have been changed, and even many Zhouzhongtian forces have been destroyed. For example, every time the World Lord fights, I am afraid that more than 1 or 2 Nine Heavens forces will be destroyed. Therefore, no matter how much Ouyang Jor knew, it would be difficult for him to recognize all the forces of the 9 heavens. What's more, they didn't even enter the ruins now, they just looked at one from the outside. I saw that the ruins only showed a space crack, and the appearance of some buildings was revealed, and more were invisible. You need to enter the ruins to know. How do I get in? My shadowless walk can't get close to these true ancestors, otherwise they will find them. But if I don't go in, I won't get any benefits at all. Ouyang Jor said through sound transmission. As the reincarnation of the half-step ancestor, she did hide several treasures, but the key is that there are only a few treasures in the Daoshan realm as the fragments of the realm fall, and most of the treasures are still in the God's realm. She also did not expect that the Hao Hai Sea realm would be shattered, and would pass through the dark forbidden realm to another realm. Therefore, there are only a few treasures that she can dig now. Now that one has been dug, the rest are more dangerous. If she does not have the strength of the invincible true ancestor, she will never go. Therefore, she is very eager to obtain resources. And in the ancient times, a relic that was very likely to be a branch of the 9 heavens forces would be of great value. Maybe there are treasures that make the true ancestors of the strongest, and some resources have been exhausted in ancient times, and just taking out some is enough to be called a legendary resource. The two of them waited slowly here, only to see the true ancestors of Zixia sect passing through the cracks in space from time to time. Some people came out from the inside of the ruins, and some people entered the ruins. However, everyone must pass the inspection of a large array before they can enter and leave the ruins. This kind of detection method is almost impossible to conceal, because it involves the soul in the original breath. If someone can really conceal this great formation, it is definitely a supreme existence, and there is no need to be greedy for this relic. Moreover, the Xuanshu ancient realm currently only allows the strongest person to be the true ancestor, and the Taoist ancestors cannot wake up, so there is no such situation. Suddenly, a true ancestor came out of the ruins, tore the void and left. Yi Tian recognized this person, and he was the most powerful true ancestor of Xixia sect, true ancestor Liu. True ancestor Liao is not comparable to true ancestor Huangguang and true ancestor Lian of Xixia sect, he is much stronger than them. True ancestor Liao is very famous. Some people say that true ancestor Liao can rank in the top 10 in the ancient world of Xuanchu, and he is proficient in Thunder Taoism. His strength is infinitely close to the invincible true ancestor, and in some respects even surpasses the invincible true ancestor. Even if the ordinary invincible true ancestor can barely defeat the true ancestor Liu, there is no way to kill him. True ancestor Liu is also the master of the Xixia sect on the bright side, and all other supreme true ancestors must obey the orders of true ancestor Liu. Watching Liu Junzu leave, Yi Tian made a decision in his heart. Jor, I'm sure to sneak in, you enter my inner world first. Yi Tian ordered. It is good. Ouyang Jor didn't ask how to get in, maybe it involved Yi Tian's secrets, so it was not good for her to ask. Swish, Ouyang Jor entered Yi Tian's inner world. At this time, Yi Tian used an ability of his own copy talent, copy body. He directly copied the body of true ancestor Liu. Swish, a Liu was born. The body of this true ancestor Liu is exactly the same as the real Liu, and even his talents are the same. The only difference is that he does not have the memory of true ancestor Liu, nor does he know the Taoism of true ancestor Liu. Therefore, the body of this true ancestor Liu is still easily exposed. However, Yi Tian only needs to use the identity of true ancestor Liu to enter the ruins. Even if it is exposed in the future, the enemy will not know who did it. Wow! Yi Tian entered the body of the true ancestor Liu, and then flew to the ruins as the true ancestor Liu. Entrance to the ruins. When the true ancestors of Xixia sect saw that the true ancestor Liu came again, they were immediately puzzled, but they still respectfully said, I have seen the true ancestor Liu. I've got a few more things to think about, I'll go in and take a look. 1 inch. Yi Tian said. Yes, many true ancestors responded. But even if it is the true ancestor of Liu, it still needs to be tested to prevent someone from pretending to be the true ancestor of Liu. When Yi Tian entered the large formation inspection, all the inspection methods determined that Yi Tian's body was the real Liu Junzu. At this time, all true ancestors did not suspect that Yi Tian was a fake Liu. So, Yi Tian easily entered the ruins. Since these true ancestors do not doubt, naturally they will not call for evidence. Therefore, Yi Tian is currently unable to reveal his identity. After entering the ruins, Yi Tian really saw the appearance of the entire ruins. The style of the entire ruins looks extremely ancient, but the formation here is very powerful. Moreover, he also sensed that many true ancestors are constantly breaking the restrictions here. Wow! A true ancestor appeared in front of Yi Tian. It was the true ancestor of Wangguang who once threatened Yi Tian. True ancestor Liu, why are you back? True ancestor Huangguang is a little strange. The true ancestors of the strong need to be replaced, and the true ancestor Liu had been guarding here for a period of time before, and now he needs to return to the headquarters of Xixiazong to guard. But now, true ancestor Liu has returned. Why, I can't come back. Yi Tian said coldly. No. True ancestor Huangguang lowered his head quickly, not daring to question anymore. His strength is far from the opponent of true ancestor Liu. If he angers true ancestor Liu, he will have no good fruit to eat. I want to take another look, let's go over there. Yi Tian said. All right, true ancestor Huangguang replied. Immediately, the two flew to the depths of the ruins. Although Yi Tian flew with the true ancestor Huangguang, he was actually a step behind, and it was the true ancestor Huangguang who flew with Yi Tian. Otherwise, Yi Tian didn't know the situation and didn't know the way, so it would be easy to reveal the secret. In a blink of an eye, the two descended on an underground passage. Entering the underground passage, they came to a huge underground space. There is a medicine garden in this underground space, which contains a large number of magical medicines, as well as various mountain ranges, which hide countless rare ores and so on. After a while, Yi Tian and Huangguang Junzu stopped in front of a ban. At this time, a large number of true ancestors are cracking this prohibition. Through the restraint, Yi Tian could see the situation light inside. 12 ancient statues surround an ancient pool. There is black water in the pool, and rules manifest in the water. There are also many illusions that are sometimes born and sometimes shattered, which looks very strange. True ancestor Liu, you can leave with confidence. There is absolutely no problem with us here. According to the current progress, after 1,000,000 years, we will be able to break the restriction and control this 9 serenity taboo pool. True ancestor Huang Guang said. 9 secluded taboo pools. Yi Tian didn't know about this 9 nether taboo pool, and he didn't dare to ask, otherwise, he would be exposed on the spot if he asked. Then, a wisp of consciousness from Yi Tian's body descended into his inner universe, and he found Ouyang Jor, who was playing idle and bored. Jor, have you heard of the Juyu Forbidden Pool? Yi Tian asked. Chapter 1093 9 Secluded Taboo Pool. Fourth more. 9 Secluded Taboo Pools. When Ouyang Jor heard the name, he was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, I know, but I have never seen the Juyu Taboo Pool, because this thing disappeared a long time ago. What's the use of it? Yi Tian asked again. This thing is very valuable. Ouyang Jor said. It is said that in a certain ancient period of the Hao Hai Sea realm, it was not called the Hao Hai Sea realm at that time, and I don't know what it was called. It was a dark age anyway. There is a sect that studies the dark taboo power, and it really combines the violent and incomparable dark taboo power with some powers, and then adds various rare materials to create the Juyu taboo pool. In that era, that sect cultivated there are a large number of the strongest ancestors and the invincible ancestors. It can quickly temper the body of the ancestors and the power of the ancestors, and cultivate in the Juyu taboo pool. The key point is that if you practice in the 9 nether taboo pool, you can use time acceleration, so the effect of auxiliary practice can be called the first in the realm. The Juyu Forbidden Pool is so powerful. Yi Tian was surprised. For a force, this is a real treasure. Why did you suddenly ask the Juyu taboo pool? Could it be that you entered the ruins and saw the Juyu taboo pool? Ouyang Jor asked quickly, looking quite excited. Her progress has slowed down now, and she doesn't know how long it will take to upgrade to the level of the strongest ancestor and the invincible ancestor. If she can enter the 9 serenity taboo pool to cultivate, wouldn't she be able to quickly improve her strength? That's right, I entered the ruins 373, and I also saw the Juyu Forbidden Pool. Not to mention, the people of the Zixia sect also cracked the prohibition outside the Juyu Forbidden Pool. Yi Tian explained what he knew one by one. After hearing this, Ouyang Jor was very surprised. Judging from Yi Tian's description, Yi Tian entered the ruins and hadn't clashed with the people of Zixia sect. How did this happen? Could it be that Yi Tian himself is a member of Zixia sect, but this is not right? Camouflage. But she clearly knew that the Zixia sect had arranged a large detection array, and it was impossible to mix into the ruins. Or manipulated a true ancestor and let that true ancestor take him in. But this is also a possibility. Once the true ancestor is manipulated, the mental state will be wrong, and it will also be detected. Ouyang Jor did not continue to think about it, but said quickly, Brother Yi, we must win the Juyu taboo pool. Take it, it's just the 2 of us. There are quite a few supreme ancestors of Zixia sect. If there are hidden invincible ancestors, I'm afraid we can't even walk. Yi Tian sighed. He is just an ordinary invincible true ancestor. He can deal with 7 or 8 supreme true ancestors at the same time, but if there are a large number of top true ancestors and elite true ancestors besieging him, it will be dangerous. Let him fight against the Zixia sect with his own power, that would be death. Jor, is there anything you can do? Yi Tian asked. If you let me break the ban, I have a way to break it very quickly, CJFI, but if you let me fight, I can't do it. Ouyang Jor said. This, quote, Yi Tian was helpless. He dared to appear in the ruins because he copied the body of true ancestor Liu, but if Ouyang Jor dared to appear in the ruins, he would be besieged and killed immediately. As for Ouyang Jor's shadowless step, he couldn't get close to the true ancestors, otherwise he would be discovered. But if you don't get close to the ban, how can you study and break the ban? Therefore, Ouyang Jor's shadowless divine walk was useless inside the ruins, and could not hide from the true ancestors of Zixia sect. The 2 had no choice, and fell silent for a while. And outside, Yi Tian was still dealing with the true ancestor Huang Guang, and did not leave immediately. If he continued to delay, the true ancestor Huang Guang might see some clues. To go, or not to go? Yi Tian is thinking about this question. Let's go, the true ancestors of the Zixia sect are here. Even if Ouyang Jor and I can break into the forbidden interior, we can't safely cultivate in the Juyu Forbidden Pool. Yi Tian thought to himself. Subsequently, Yi Tian left the ruins. No matter whether it was the true ancestor Huang Guang or other true ancestors, there was no doubt, and he did not go to verify anything. This is great news for Yi Tian. Back to the human race. Yi Tian has a plan. Jor, I'm going to tell the General Zusha of Haifeng Mountain about the ruins. With the strength of high function, I should be sure to take down the ruins. At that time, I will tell General Zusha to let you go in and practice. How? Yi Tian suggested. Well, that's all it can do, Ouyang Joer said helplessly. Her ideal choice is to completely occupy the 9 nether taboo cool, so that she can cultivate in the 9 nether taboo cool for a long time, and has always raised the power of the true ancestor to the extreme of the great Tao. But just relying on the strength of her and Yi Tian, could not shake the behemoth of Xixia sect. After negotiating, Yi Tian performed the Black Wind Territory technique, entered the Wind King's small territory, contacted General Zusha, and personally informed General Zusha of the matter. Wind King's small realm, a certain public space. Yi Tian met with General Zusha. General Juji, what are you looking for from me? General Zusha asked. Have you heard of the Juyu Taboo Cool, General Zusha? Yi Tian asked. I heard that General Juji knows the information about Juyu Taboo Cool. General Zusha asked in surprise. That's right, Yi Tian nodded. I only have one place where there is the Juyu Taboo Cool, and Zong has already discovered it. That place is the branch of the ancient Zhouzhang Tianzongmen, and the Juyu Forbidden Cool is there. However, it may take some time for Z's people to lift the ban. Is the message accurate? Bloody General asked. If this kind of thing is not confirmed, he will definitely not do it, otherwise once the information is wrong, the impact will be too great. It's 100% confirmed. I even sneaked into the ruins in a special way, but I couldn't fight against the Xixia sect on my own, so I could only ask High Function to make a move. Yi Tian said truthfully. If the news is accurate, Haifeng Mountain will definitely go and snatch it. A mere Xixia sect is also worthy of owning the 9 Serenity Taboo Cool. General Zusha laughed. At this time, Yi Tian suddenly said again, the specific information was given to me by a friend of mine. If I can win the Juyu Forbidden Cool, can my friend enter the Juyu Forbidden Cool to cultivate for a period of time? Of course you can, you are also a general, you can make up your mind about this trivial matter, you don't need to ask me. General Zusha said. High Function did not take action immediately, but went to inquire about the information first. Although the information on the 9 Nether Taboo Cool was not confirmed in the end, the other information was generally the same, and the ancient ruins were 100% correct. In fact, this ruin alone is enough for Black Wind Mountain to start. So, on this day, General Blood Demon summoned a large number of true ancestors to prepare to attack the ancient ruins. For a while, the storm was about to come. Outside the space where the ancient ruins are located, a large number of true ancestors of Tianling sect formed an army to guard here, constantly patrolling and guarding the true ancestors of Xixia sect. Although some true ancestors complained, the Heavenly Spirit sect was a force supported by the Xixia sect, and they did not dare to go against it. And the Taoist ancestors of Tianlingzong have many elders who are Xixiazong themselves. This is also a secret, few forces know about it. Therefore, Tianlingzong obeyed Xixiazong's orders. At this time, Jinchen True Ancestor, one of the top true ancestors of the Heavenly Spirit sect, is guarding this space, and his consciousness constantly scans the surrounding territory and patrols with all his heart. Suddenly, Jin Chan Junzu's expression changed, and he felt a different breath, as if there was a real big terror coming. Click, the void split open, and a large number of masked true ancestors descended. Damn it, Black Wind Mountain. True ancestor Jin Chan was shocked. The true ancestors of the Black Wind Mountain rarely appear, and even if they do appear, they do not appear as members of the Black Wind Mountain but in other identities. But now, with so many masked true ancestors appearing, High Function must be dispatched collectively. This is an act of robbery. He wouldn't think that the true ancestors of Black Wind Mountain came here for fun, and they must be interested in ancient ruins. Help, help. The true ancestor of Jin Chan hurriedly sent a message to the Heavenly Spirit sect and other true ancestors of the Xixia sect. Chapter 1094 General Ferris. 5th. However, even if Jin Chan Junzu asked for help now, it was too late to rescue them. I saw that the true ancestors of the Black Wind Mountain blocked the void and used the Black Wind domain boundary technique to suppress the void. Under the superimposed suppression of a large number of true ancestors' Black Wind domain boundary technique, this void seemed to be completely frozen. Under such circumstances, the true ancestors of the Heavenly Spirit sect could not leave through space at all, and could only rely on flight speed. But under the siege of so many true ancestors in the Black Wind Mountain, how could they fly away? Kill. Many generals of Haifeng Mountain led a large number of peak masters and true ancestors to kill the true ancestors of Tianlingzong. Boom boom boom. One after another, the true ancestors fell, and in the blink of an eye, the army of the true ancestors of Tianlingzong fell and died, and even the true ancestors of Jinshan were crushed to death by General Zusha. After the true ancestors of the Tianling sect fell, the high-function army entered the fragmented space where the ancient ruins were located. And at this time, the true ancestors of Xixia sect had already discovered it. Wangguang Junzu and many other powerful ancestors appeared, and a large number of Xixia sect's ancestors fought against high-function Gen ancestors one after another. At this time, Yi Tian really understood how many troops Xixiazong had deployed in this domain fragment. At least 100,000 true ancestors. Yi Tian was shocked. How many true ancestors does the entire Xixia sect have? Although it is a seventh heavenly power, at most there are only 500,000 true ancestors, and many of them are new true ancestors. It can be said that the Xixia sect sent almost one-fifth of all the true ancestors to this domain fragment, which shows how much they attached great importance to the ancient ruins. Seeing so many true ancestors, General Zusha showed an excited look. The Xixia sect attaches so much importance to the ancient relics, which shows how great the value of the ancient relics is, not only the Juyu Tabu Pool, but also many other treasures and resources. High Function, do you want to go to war with our Xixia sect? True ancestor Huang Guang roared. Their Xixia sect is not a middle-level 3-level heaven force, allowing Haifeng Mountain to falter. Before Haifeng Mountain destroyed the Glazed Tile sect, that's all. After all, the Glazed Tile sect was only a 5th layered power, but Xixia sect was a 7th layered power. It is for the 8th heavenly power. How dare High Function attack their Xixia sect? Abandon this ruin, we Blackwind Mountain cannot kill you. Bloody General suggested. Haifeng Mountain is not unreasonable, as long as Xixiazong gives up here, they cannot attack Xixiazong. In fact, they don't want to be enemies with Xixia sect. After all, Xixia sect is not weak. It is a 7th level power. If High Function offends too many upper 3rd level powers, it will also be in big trouble. In the past, High Function rarely robbed the power of the upper 3rd heaven, but this time was different. There was a Juyu Tabu Pool in this ruin. He went to ask the 6 kings for instructions, and the awakened consciousness of the 6th king told him to occupy the Juyu Tabu Pool at all costs. Therefore, this time, High Function will take a strong shot, and will not hesitate to be the enemy of the 7th heaven forces like Xixia sect. This relic has no value, and it has almost been developed by our Xixia sect. What do you want? True ancestor Huang Guang said. If there is no value, your Xixia sect will send 100,000 true ancestors to guard here. General Zusha sneered. General Zusha is not afraid of Xixia sect asking for help, because if Haifeng Mountain wants to occupy this ruin, he must fight against the entire Xixia sect, otherwise how can he excavate the ruins with peace of mind? If Xixia sect is unwilling to give up, they can only truly fight to the death. Either High Function retreats, or Xixiazong retreats, there is no other choice. As for destroying the Xixia sect, Haifeng Mountain has no such idea yet. It is too difficult to destroy an ancient 7th heaven power, and General Blood Evil does not want to court death. Give you 10 seconds, either retreat or fight. After General Zusha finished speaking, he began to count. Exclamation mark. Pipe 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 pipe. After 10 seconds passed, the true ancestor Huang Guang did not retreat, and none of the true ancestors of the Xixia sect left. They are all very aware of what the ruins are doing to the Xixia sect. Once they are lost, the Taoist ancestors will not let them go. Kill, the bloody general said. Haifeng Mountain's 500,000 true ancestor army started, and instantly crushed the 100,000 army of Xixia sect, basically 5 against 1. And Yi Tian also made his move, picking the true ancestor Huang Guang. When the true ancestor of Huang Guang saw Yi Tian attacking him, he directly used the forbidden technique, and his terrifying strength broke out, almost reaching the peak state of the true ancestor of the strongest, second only to the level of true ancestor Liu. Although such an outbreak could not last, and the sequelae are great, but he can't care about them. He wanted to kill Yi Tian, and then go to rescue other true ancestors, otherwise for every second delay, a large number of true ancestors would die. Certainly, he didn't recognize Yi Tian at first sight. After all, Yi Tian was wearing the mask of High Function, but as soon as they fought, Yi Tian's familiar taboo body exposed his identity. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, it's you, I killed you. True ancestor Huang Guang hated Yi Tian very much and shouted loudly. However, at this time, Yi Tian performed the technique of the 1,000 paths of selfless vacuum. Repression. The Taoist domain formed by the egoless vacuum suppressed the true ancestor of Huang Guang, causing him to bear unimaginable pressure, and his strength plummeted in an instant. Then, Yi Tian condensed the Dao technique Wansha True Spear. Go! The Wansha True Spear easily penetrated the defense of the true ancestor Wangguang, and punched a blood hole in his body. Then, a taboo spear also condensed and formed, piercing the head of the true ancestor of Wangguang. Even so, the true ancestor of Wangguang was only severely injured and did not fall. But in Yi Tian's hands, he has no resistance. As time goes by, he will still fall, and this time will not last long. No matter how many things he has to save his life, he will not be able to protect him. For flowers, invincible true ancestor, you have reached the invincible true ancestor's combat power. True ancestor Huang Guang said in fear. It's only been a long time. Yi Tian has been promoted from the supreme ancestor to the invincible ancestor, which is simply too heaven-defying. Invincible true ancestor combat power, this is the combat power that many genius true ancestors have dreamed of all their lives. He also wanted to become the invincible true ancestor, but after practicing for a long time, there was no hope at all, and the Juyu Taboo Pool gave him the slightest hope. Unexpectedly, Haifeng Mountain stepped in. I'm not happy. True ancestor Huang Guang said angrily. At this moment, a figure came to tear the space, and one hand grabbed the true ancestor of Wangguang, as if to save the true ancestor of Wangguang. Roll! Yi Tian urged the great wilderness Dharma body, and then performed the great cracking space technique, directly forcing the opponent back. Only then did he see clearly the face of the person who came. Zikai true ancestor, save me! Junzu Huang Guang shouted when he saw the person coming. General Zusha said. General Juji, be careful, this guy is called Zichi true ancestor, he is a very ancient true ancestor, he has not appeared for a long time, I thought he died, but I didn't expect to be alive. He is the invincible true ancestor, and his combat power is weaker than mine, but he is not weak in the invincible true ancestor level. 1. General Zusha did not come to help Yi Tian, because he was also dragged, and he was an invincible true ancestor. The Zixia sect has two invincible true ancestors, one is the true ancestor of Zichi and the other is the true ancestor of Zhigang. Originally, these two invincible true ancestors were almost never born, but this time they were forced to appear, otherwise the ruins would not be preserved. There are actually two invincible true ancestors in a mere 7th heaven power. Yi Tian was also a little surprised. After all, there was only one invincible true ancestor before Haifeng Mountain, and now he only has two invincible true ancestors. Could it be that the background of Haifeng Mountain is weaker than that of Zixia sect? Just when Zichi true ancestor was about to attack Yi Tian, the void split open and a true ancestor wearing a high-function mask appeared, blocking Zichi true ancestor. This person is a general of the Black Wind Mountain, and he is also an invincible ancestor. I saw Zikai opened his mouth and said, General Modian, you really are still alive. When the Black Wind Mountain was active, only one of the three generals, General Zusha, appeared. I thought the other two generals of the three generals had fallen. If you guessed correctly, General Ferris, you were seriously injured when you passed through the dark forbidden area, and your injury has not fully recovered yet. General Modian said with a sneer, I've been severely injured. Maybe you didn't, and I don't think you've recovered from your injuries. Besides, I'm stronger than you, and you're not my opponent. During the conversation, the two began to fight. Chapter 1095 The End of Tianjianzong. The Black Wind Mountain Legion appears. First update. It turns out that there are other invincible ancestors in the Black Wind Mountain. Yi Tian muttered. That's right, such a powerful Black Wind Mountain has such a profound background, how could it have been an invincible true ancestor before? There was General Modian who stopped the Zichi true ancestor of Zixia sect, Wangguang true ancestor completely lost his assistance, and finally could not hold on under Yi Tian's repeated attacks. Clap. True ancestor Huang Guang's body was completely shattered, and his soul escaped, and he was considered a complete fall. And Wangguang Junzu is not the only true ancestor who has fallen. The big army of Zixia sect has not yet arrived. After all, it takes time to gather the army. Many ancestors are still in retreat, and it takes a lot of time just to notify them. Can't make it at all. Therefore, the 100,000 true ancestors of Zixia sect in this space are under great pressure, and those supreme true ancestors are under even greater pressure, and are often besieged by multiple supreme true ancestors. In a short time, the Zixia sect lost 3 supreme true ancestors. Seeing this scene, the true ancestor Zichi and the true ancestor Zhigang were extremely resentful, but they could not change the ending. With the fall of a large number of true ancestors of Zixia sect, the big, 373, troops of Zixia sect finally arrived. I saw that the true ancestor Leo led a large number of true ancestors to come and fight with the true ancestor army of the Black Wind Mountain. From time to time in the void, the true ancestor fell down, and the battlefield was very tragic. Since no one contained Yi Tian, the invincible true ancestor, Yi Tian swept away almost everything, beheading a large number of the true ancestors of Xixia sect. Gradually, the army of the true ancestor of Xixia sect showed signs of collapse, and many true ancestors did not dare to fight, and only wanted to escape. According to this trend, even if all the true ancestors of Xixia sect died in battle, they would not be able to keep this ancient relic. Give it up, you Xixia sect can't keep this ancient ruins. General Ferris persuaded. Impossible, Zichi true ancestor said angrily. The battle has reached this time, and the Xixia sect has fallen so many true ancestors, how can they give up? Once they give up, there will be nothing. Moreover, Xixia sect is also very clear that Haifeng Mountain is completely a bandit force, and even cooperation is impossible. Otherwise, they would be willing to share part of the benefits to Black Wind Mountain. But they are very clear that what Haifeng wants is not 10% or 20% of the benefits but everything. This is the usual style of Montenegro. Half an hour later, the fighting continued. At this time, General Zusha, Yi Tian and General Modian felt that something was wrong. The loss of Xixia sect was huge, and if they continued to fight, their foundation was almost gone. It stands to reason that Xixia sect must give up. No matter how big the opportunity is, it must be discarded. But Xixia sect is still insisting. Zichi true ancestor and Zhigang true ancestor still haven't given up. This is not normal. Be careful, the generals of the Black Wind Mountain communicated with each other. Suddenly, the sky of this domain fragment space was completely cracked, stretching for thousands of miles. Boom, a gigantic battleship tore through the void and descended, attracting the attention of all the true ancestors of the Black Wind Mountain. There is a huge sword word on the battleship. This sword word is full of the meaning of the supreme swordsmanship. It is a word inscribed by a supreme swordsman. Many forces have the word sword in their names, but the force that dares to engrave only the word sword on the battleship is only one of the three heavenly forces in the domain. Tianjianzong, the heavenly sword sect is not a 7th level heaven force, but a top 8th level heaven force, and has several 8th level heavenly ancestors which are extremely powerful. Obviously, Tianjianzong intervened. Black Wind Mountain, you are going too far. A figure came from the battleship. Immediately, a sword light stabbed and rescued one of the most powerful ancestors who was about to fall, and a sword shook the three most powerful ancestors of Haifeng Mountain. Wow! A young man in a white Taoist uniform came out. His clothes were engraved with golden sword patterns, and there was a small sword mark between his eyebrows. This mark represents the identity of the true swordsman of Tianjianzong, not the ordinary disciple of the true ancestor. Heavenly Sword Sect, Changfeng Jianzun, one of the three major heavenly sword true inheritances. Why did your heavenly sword sect intervene? Asked General Zusha. Most of the disciples of Tianjian sect are named after their true ancestors. Taking the sword as the title is the habit of the heavenly sword sect. And Changfeng Jianzun is also an invincible true ancestor, whose reputation is no less than that of the Blood Evil General. However, the name of the Blood Evil General is notorious and fierce, while the name of Changfeng Jianzun is a good name, and it is the idol and target of countless kendo practitioners. Certainly, for the common ancestors, whether it is Changfeng Sword Master or Blood Evil General, they are all existences that cannot be provoked. Once provoked, they will end in death. Changfeng Jianzun said. No way, Xixia sect is willing to share half of the benefits of this branch of Juyu sect with us. Our heavenly sword sect is naturally interested, and we have to come. 1. Tianjianzong, if you intervene, you will be enemies with our Black Wind Mountain, and only 50% of the profits will be made. Be careful to make your Tianjianzong suffer heavy losses. The Blood Evil General said. Ha ha ha, even if the loss is heavy, there is no way. Who made the things inside this ruin so amazing? Changfeng Jianzun said with a smile. He also did not expect that Xixia sect had found the relics of the Juyu faction's branch, and also found the Juyu taboo cool. Juyu faction, that is the Zhouzhongtian force of a certain dark age in the ancient times, once participated in the powerful force that competed for the position of the World Master. Although the Juyu faction was defeated in the final fight for the position of the World Master, the Zhouzhongtian forces are the Zhouzhongtian forces, far from being comparable to the 8th level forces. And Juyujing is owned by Juyu Faction 7, 2. Once the Juyu taboo cool is obtained, the strength of the heavenly sword sect will inevitably grow again, and it is nothing to sacrifice some true ancestors for this. General Zusha also guessed that Tianjianzong knew about Juyu Tabu Kul, otherwise Tianjianzong would not be allowed to end up participating in such a battle. In this case, a war between the two sides is inevitable. On the surface, the combination of Xixia sect and Tianjian sect will make Haifeng Mountain fall into the disadvantage, but in reality, Heavenly Sword sect, you have never known our Black Wind Mountain. The Blood Evil General said. Oh, what do you mean? Changfeng Zhanzun frowned. Since your Heavenly Sword sect is also gone, let's fight. General Zusha waved his hand, the void split open, and a legion came out. This legion is the Blood Evil army of the Blood Evil General, and once followed the Blood Evil General named Junhao Sea World. Your Blood Demon army is still there. How is it possible? How can you Black Wind Mountain keep so many true ancestors? Changfeng Zhanzun was shocked. When any of the upper three heaven forces are traveling through the dark forbidden area, they also try their best to protect the places with higher talents. Some disciples with poor talents and those with weaker cultivation should give up. There is no way, the dark forbidden area is too terrifying. If all are protected, the forces of the upper third layer will collapse. If they collapse completely, everyone will die. But he never expected that the Blood Evil army of the Blood Evil General was still there. This batch of Blood Evil army has the real Blood Evil army soul. At its peak, the Blood Demon Legion had 6 supreme primordial ancestors, dozens of top primal ancestors and 100,000 primordial ancestors. That's right, it's just the power of one legion. Today, the Blood Demon army that has appeared is slightly weaker, but there are also 4 supreme true ancestors, 35 top true ancestors, and more than 6 true ancestors. The Blood Fiend Legion is completely the personal power of the Blood Fiend General, so it has a low status in Haifeng Mountain, and the Haifeng Peak protects the Blood Fiend General and those Peak Masters and ordinary ancestors. If the Blood Evil General wants to keep his army, he can only rely on himself to protect it. A mere invincible true ancestor 5.8 is also an ant in front of the dark forbidden area. How could he still protect so many true ancestors? Not normal, not realistic. Sword Master Changfeng gritted his teeth, it was hard to believe this scene. In fact, he also has many followers and a large number of subordinates, but during the journey in the dark forbidden area, he almost gave up all subordinates, just to save his life and not let his foundation be damaged. Therefore, seeing that General Zusha still has so many subordinates, he is jealous. However, the appearance of the Blood Sha Legion is just a prelude. Boom! Another legion came to tear the void, and it was the Sky Legion, which belonged to the Sky General. Afterwards, the legions descended, all of which were the legions of many high-function generals, but if they were added together, it was an exaggerated amount. Moreover, the legion battle is to display the army formation, because of the tacit understanding, the threat is very large. For example, the Blood Fiend army under the Blood Fiend General has the record of beheading an invincible true ancestor, although it is a very ordinary invincible true ancestor, but it is also very terrifying. Chapter 1096 Tianjianzong retreats, Zixiazong escapes. 2nd. Yi Tian's Juji Legion was not dispatched, because his Juji Legion was just started, and there were not many true ancestors, so even if he was deployed, it wouldn't be of much help. But the army of these generals alone is enough to increase the strength of Black Wind Mountain many times. There is still a big gap between me and these generals. Yi Tian couldn't help sighing. He has never paid attention to other generals, and only admires General Zusha in his heart, but now he knows that he underestimates other generals. Perhaps other generals only have the strength of the Supreme Ancestor and are not his opponents, but other generals have a large number of ancestors under their command, and once they are combined into an army formation, they are enough to stop the invincible ancestors. Compared with other generals, his background is still very immature. In fact, Yi Tian did not expect that these generals still kept the legions, and he also thought that the legions of these generals had all fallen. As the high-function general, it was normal that Tianjianzong did not think of it. Now, the true ancestors of Tianjianzong are very confused. What is the most terrifying thing in Black Wind Mountain is not those generals and peak masters. At the peak of the Black Wind Mountain, there were only 108 generals in 29. Although the number of peak masters was large, they were not too many. The most powerful ones were those legions. Every general and peak master has a legion, and the power accumulated together is too terrifying, and even the Taoist ancestors have a legion. For example, what should be done for some supreme true ancestors who failed to obtain the position of generals? Without sufficient authority, they can only choose to join the legion under the command of Tao ancestor and hold important positions. Therefore, the strength of the legions of many Taoist ancestors in Haifeng Mountain is terrifying, and some Taoist ancestors even have invincible true ancestors, but they are not known to the outside world. But in the first battle of the Broken World, Haifengtian was involved in the war, otherwise the four kings would not have fallen, and the heavenly kings had also fallen a lot. The legions under Daozu also directly participated in the war, and many of them were destroyed, but the legions under the generals did not fight much, so they were able to survive. It can be said that the current strength of Haifeng Mountain is many times weaker than when it was at its peak. From this we can see how powerful the Black Wind Mountain was at its peak. Of course, the other upper three heaven forces also basically participated in the war, it was just a question of how much they participated in. After all, the Hao Hai Sea realm was invaded, and the Heavenly Emperor Palace forcibly recruited the forces of the upper three layers to participate in the war. Whoever dared not to participate in the war was defeated in the end, and even the realm was smashed by others. Zhanzun Changfeng, do you fight, or not? General Ferris asked. Changfeng Zhanzun hesitated. This time he brought an army of 400,000 true ancestors, including 2 invincible true ancestors including him, dozens of supreme true ancestors and thousands of top true ancestors. How luxurious and powerful is such a lineup? If it is combined with Zixia sect, it will not be too difficult to deal with the hundreds of thousands of true ancestors of the Black Wind Mountain. After all, the top level will crush the opponent. But now, dozens of legions have appeared in Haifeng Mountain, the number of true ancestors has suddenly reached nearly 1 million, and the top combat power has suddenly increased. If it were to fight, the Heavenly Sword sect would be very likely to be defeated, and it would suffer heavy losses. If it was bad, he might fall into this battle. Changfeng Zhanzun did not dare to reply immediately, but sent a message back to Tianjianzong, which was decided by the sleeping Taoist ancestors of Tianjianzong. Soon, Tianjianzong sent a reply. Our Heavenly Sword sect, not participating. Sword Master Changfeng took a deep breath and said. No, true ancestor Zichi and true ancestor Zigang shouted in despair. They have been counting on the Heavenly Sword sect, otherwise they would not persist until now. Now that the true ancestors of the Zixia sect have died so much, the Heavenly Sword sect said they would not fight. What a joke. Walk. With a wave of his sleeves, Changfeng Zhanzun led many true ancestors of the Heavenly Sword sect into the battleship, tore through the void and left, completely ignoring Zixia sect. Run away. True ancestor Zikai and true ancestor Zigang sighed. Immediately, the true ancestors of the Zixia sect no longer insisted, and they began to flee frantically one by one, trying to escape back to the Zixia sect. Once they escaped back to the Zixia sect, with the protection of the Zixia sect and many trump cards, Haifengtian would not dare to rush into the Zixia sect. What's more, any force in the upper third layer has a way to make the Taoist ancestors resist the rules of the ancient world for a short time, thus showing a very terrifying combat power, although the cost is very high, but once the sect is forced into crisis, the Taoist ancestors in the third layer of heaven will not care. Therefore, Haifeng Mountain is also unable to destroy Zixia sect. The true ancestors of Zixia sect fled with all their strength, and the true ancestors of Haifeng Mountain did not slaughter with all their strength. After a while, all the true ancestors of Zixia sect left this space and completely abandoned this ancient ruins. Tianjianzong retreated, Zixiazong escaped, and Tianlingzong dared to come here, completely abandoning this domain fragment space that originally belonged to them. Afterwards, many true ancestors of Haifeng Mountain entered the ruins of this branch of the 9Yu sect one by one. Yi Tian brought General Modian and General Zusha to the Juyu Forbidden Pool. When General Modian and General Zusha saw Juyu Zusha Pool, they were very excited. It really is the 9 Serenity Taboo Pond, blood evil, you didn't lie to me, or I would lose a lot by forcibly awakening this time. General Motian laughed. With the Juyu Taboo Pool, your injuries should be healed, and you can also completely complete your Ferris true body. Said General Blood Evil. Well, but I still have to thank General Jujin for contributing this piece of information, so that our Black Wind Mountain has a great advantage. However, for safety's sake, let's just swallow this space directly into the small realm of the Wind King. In this case, so you won't be afraid of other forces spying on you. General Ferris suggested, swallow this space. Yi Tian was surprised. How big is this space, and it insists that it is comparable to a small universe before, it is simply unimaginably huge. The key is that this space has been completely integrated into the ancient world of Xuanxu. The true ancestors can destroy the space, but it is difficult to move the space. I am afraid that it is difficult for the ancestors to do this. General Modian and General Zusha have the ability to move this space to the small realm of the Wind King. Seeing Yi Tian's stunned eyes, General Zusha couldn't help but explain. General Juji doesn't know, our small realm in Haifeng Mountain has the ability to devour the world. All can be swallowed. Once the two of us have obtained the authority of the Wind King, we can try to swallow this space into the small realm of the Wind King and turn it into a space of the small realm of the Wind King. Many spaces you have seen before, some were created by the Wind King, and some were actually swallowed by the Wind King's small realm. I see. Yi Tian understood. It didn't take long for General Zusha and General Modian to get the permission of the Wind King and obtain temporary authority, and began to urge the Wind King's small realm to devour this space. Boom! The space was shaken, and the entire Juyu sect relics were separated from the void of the ancient world of Xuanshu along with the space, and were swallowed up by the small realm of the Wind King little by little. At this moment, some invincible true ancestors spied in secretly, trying to find the coordinates of the Wind King's small realm, but unfortunately the Wind King's small realm was too magical. Even if they were devouring space, they couldn't lock the position of the Wind King's small realm. Not to mention them, even if those true ancestors arrive, there is no way to find the Wind King's small realm. Strictly speaking, the small realm of the Wind King is actually moving all the time, and the coordinates are useless at all. Even if the specific coordinates are found, the coordinates will be useless after a while. If you want to enter the small realm of the Wind King, the only way is to practice the Black Wind realm, but if you are not an official member of the Black Wind Mountain, you are not qualified to practice the Black Wind realm. In half an hour, the entire space was completely swallowed up by the Wind King's small realm. So far, the relics of the Juyu faction branch are completely owned by Haifeng Mountain. Chapter 1097 Cultivation, Progress is Terrifying. 3rd. Black Wind Mountain, the small realm of the Wind King. The Juyu faction branch relic has been completed in a space, and a large number of true ancestors are excavating this relic. However, this ruin is too big, there are too many buildings and treasures, and many restrictions are very complicated. If you don't want to destroy it, you have to crack it slowly, which takes a long time. Yi Tian, General Modian, and General Zusha stood outside the restriction of the Juyu Forbidden Pool, looked at this restriction, and studied silently. This prohibition is very complicated, and it uses the 9 nether taboo pool as the energy source. If we forcibly break it, we can't do it with our current strength, unless all the true ancestors make a concerted effort, but that will damage the 9 nether taboo pool. This method is not advisable. Therefore, we can only crack it slowly, but in this case, it will take at least 1,000,000 years to truly crack it. General Blood Fiend whispered. No way, there are not many true ancestors in Haifeng Mountain who are good at prohibiting formations, and they are not necessarily better than Zixiazong. Therefore, there is no way for Haifeng Mountain to quickly break the ban. At this time, Yi Tian said, I know a true ancestor, she is good at breaking the ban, and has a way to break the ban quickly. This true ancestor is also the one I said earlier who discovered the Zixia sect and excavated the ancient ruins. Zhu, I can let her break the ban, so I don't need to wait for millions of years. Oh, there is such a talent. General Ferris and General Zusha were overjoyed. Although Ouyang Joer is not from Haifeng Mountain, as long as he has the permission of the Taoist ancestor, he can enter the small realm of the Wind King. General Ferris contacted the Wind King and got permission. So, Yi Tian brought Ouyang Joer into the small realm of the Wind King. This is Ouyang Joer. Yi Tian introduced to General Modian and General Zusha. Ouyang Joer entered the small realm of the Wind King, not a little nervous or afraid, but curious and looked around. General Modian and General Zusha had a brief chat with Ouyang Joer, and then let Ouyang Joer enter the ruins of the Juyu branch and come to the Juyu Taboo Pool. It was also the first time that Ouyang Joer saw Juyu Taboo Pool, and was very curious, but he broke the ban at Yi Tian's urging. With the knowledge of her half-step ancestor, she naturally quickly understood this restriction. It's just that due to the problem of cultivation, she currently has no way to break the ban instantly, it will take a little time. Of course, she wouldn't go all out to crack it, otherwise it would be too suspicious. So, Ouyang Joer opened his mouth and said, 300 years, I'm sure to break the ban within 300 years. 1. 300 years, so fast. General Modian and General Zusha were greatly surprised. Originally, in their prediction, Ouyang Joer would be very evil if it took 10,000 years to break the ban, but they didn't expect that it would only take 300 years. In fact, if Ouyang Joer wasn't afraid of causing suspicion, she would be able to break the ban within a year. Next, Ouyang Joer broke the ban here, and Yi Tian, General Modian, General Zusha and many other true ancestors were waiting here. 300 years is not a long time for them, and they are not worried that Ouyang Joer is here to break the ban alone. After all, Ouyang Jor is not the true ancestor of Haifeng Mountain and needs to be watched all the time. If Ouyang Jor is willing to join Haifeng Mountain, then there is no problem. Unfortunately, Ouyang Jor refused the invitation of Haifeng Mountain. General Modian and General Zusha did not understand why Ouyang Jor refused, but Yi Tian was very clear. The reincarnation of a half-step ancestor of the dignified, what is the benefit of joining the Black Wind Mountain? That is impossible. Although he didn't know why Ouyang Jor was reincarnated, with Ouyang Jor's ability, it was definitely not difficult to return to the half-step ancestor realm. Besides, he still doesn't know much about Ouyang Jor's combat power, because Ouyang Jor has never made a move. He wouldn't really believe that Ouyang Jor was just a top-notch true ancestor's combat power. If he was really that simple, then he'd be a fool. In the blink of an eye, 300 years have passed. This day, Ouyang Jor completely cracked the restraint disintegrated at an extremely fast speed like ice and snow melted, dissipating into nothingness. Go in. Many true ancestors poured into the Juyu Forbidden Pool. There is still a lot of energy in the Juyu Forbidden Pool, enough to accommodate tens of thousands of true ancestors to practice, but it is estimated that it can only last a few million years before running out of energy. After reading it, General Zusha commented, "It can only be used for a few million years, isn't it worth a lot?" Yi Tian frowned. "It can be added." Ouyang Jor gave Yi Tian a blank look and said, "That's right." General Zusha nodded. Miss Jor is right, the energy inside the Juyu Taboo Pool can be replenished, otherwise, wouldn't the Juyu faction waste time to build the Juyu Taboo Pool? I just want to replenish the Juyu Taboo Pool. For the energy of the Forbidden Pool, a large amount of rare materials must be used, and there is one main material, which is the Forbidden Treasure. Any treasure that contains the power of the Forbidden can be used as a material to integrate into the 9 Serenity Forbidden Pool. Then do we still have forbidden treasures in Black Wind Mountain? Yi Tian asked. Naturally there is, said the General Zusha. We still have a lot of forbidden treasures in Haifeng Mountain, but if we want to use them, we must obtain the consent of the 10 kings. In addition, we must not enter the 9 secluded taboos. Kai cultivation is restricted and must pay a certain amount of treasures or points, otherwise Haifeng Mountain will not be able to hold on no matter how rich it is. 1. I am very sure of that. Yi Tian agrees. Of course, the true ancestor who participated in the battle this time must have been given more or less training time. As for the true ancestor who did not participate in the war, if he wanted to use the 9 Serenity Taboo Pool for cultivation, he would have to pay a lot of treasures and points. As for Yi Tian and these generals, they also need to pay a price, but the training time for the reward will not be short. Especially Yi Tian, this time he provided information, otherwise, how would Haifeng Mountain obtain the Juyu Forbidden Pool? Moreover, Yi Tian showed the invincible true ancestor's combat power, and his status was second only to the Blood Evil General. After some discussion, in the end, Yi Tian was given 1.5 million years of cultivation time, Ouyang Jor was also given 1.5 million years of cultivation time, and General Zusha and General Modian only had 1 million years of cultivation time. The other generals were more or less divided into hundreds of thousands of years of cultivation time, and finally the peak masters gained about 100,000 years or tens of thousands of years of cultivation time. That's it. The first batch of true ancestors entered the 9 Serenity Taboo Pool and began to cultivate for a long time. 1.5 million years of cultivation time seems to be a lot, but in fact, if you cultivate in a time-accelerated environment, the time acceleration of 10,000 times is equivalent to 15,000 years. 9 Secluded Taboo Pool. Yi Tian and Ouyang Jor were not far away and started to practice together. Boom! Endless 9 nether taboo energy poured into Yi Tian's body, making him feel the effect of Emperor Serum. Under the acceleration of 10,000 times of time, Yi Tian urged Juju True Art to continuously temper his true ancestor's power and fleshly body. But unfortunately, although this energy contains the dark forbidden power, it is too gentle, far inferior to the energy in the forbidden Black Lotus, and has little effect on Yi Tian's forbidden body improvement. This energy is mainly to improve the cultivation base, so that the cultivation base of the true ancestors can be quickly improved. It does not need to accumulate for a long time, and some bottlenecks can be easily broken. In this way, the strength of many true ancestors is progressing rapidly. In the blink of an eye, more than 10,000 years have passed. And Yi Tian had cultivated in the 9 Serenity Taboo Pool for a full 1.5 million years, and had used up his cultivation time. So, Yi Tian left the Juyu Forbidden Pool. I'm making too much progress. Yi Tian muttered. He is different from those generals. Those generals have basically reached the peak of the Great Tao. Even if they have not reached the peak of the Great Tao, they are not too far behind. Therefore, the improvement of cultivation is limited. However, good Jiao Hao, the effect of tempering the body in the Juyu Tabu Cool is also very good, and many chaotic body refining techniques can also be cultivated in the Juyu Tabu Cool to the light of perfection. Therefore, those generals can still obtain a certain strength improvement in the 9 Serenity Tabu Cool. But compared with Yi Tian, their improvement was too slow. When Yi Tian entered the Juyu Forbidden Pool, his cultivation was at the peak of the late stage of the Great Tao. Now, the bottleneck has been crossed in one fell swoop, and the cultivation base has reached the peak of the Tao, which is not too far from the true limit of perfection. In addition, Yi Tian's body refining effect is also very good, although the taboo body has not improved much, but the improvement of the body is very high. What he cultivated is the Juji True Art, which contains the Juji True Body Art, and now he has also cultivated to the 8th extreme in terms of physical body, which is not too far from the 9th extreme of perfection. Because Yi Tian's spirit, Qi and spirit are unified, the soul is nourished by the power of the true ancestor and the power of the flesh, and the speed of improvement is extremely fast, almost equal to these two aspects. It can be said that the cultivation in the 9 Nether Taboo Cool over the years has made his strength reach a huge leap. If one standard is used to describe him, then he is definitely the top invincible true ancestor, at the same level as the Blood Evil General, and even surpasses the Blood Evil General in some aspects. Chapter 1098 The Great Secret, the Supreme Ancestor. Fourth more. The invincible true ancestor who has reached the top level, it is almost difficult to progress at this stage. For example, the Blood Evil General, who can kill the weaker second-level Taoist ancestors, is such a terrifying strength. Once he steps into the realm of Taoist ancestors, he will immediately become the third-level Taoist ancestors. Even in the realm of the gods, the invincible true ancestor is almost the limit, and it is difficult to break this limit. For example, Yi Tian himself is now approaching the limit. If his cultivation goes further, he will reach the limit of the Great Tao, and his body and soul are also close to the limit. No matter how he improves, his strength is estimated to double. But even if the strength is doubled, it still belongs to the level of the invincible true ancestor. Of course, Yi Tian still has room for improvement. For example, if he can cultivate a Zongqin Dao technique to the perfect state or even the ultimate level, his strength will definitely increase greatly. In addition, he has not yet comprehended the Fur of Xian Dao of the sword. If he comprehends it, or masters half of Xian Dao of the sword, his strength will also increase rapidly. If I make progress in all aspects, I don't know if I can break the limit of the invincible true ancestor. I don't know what level should be called after breaking it. Yi Tian was intrigued. Ouyang Zhuor also ended his cultivation at this time, and his cultivation level has reached the late stage of the Great Tao, and in terms of breadth, I am afraid that it is not weaker than the Supreme True Ancestor or even approaching the Invincible True Ancestor. Of course, Yi Tian still thinks that Ouyang Zhuor is not simple, maybe he has already reached the Invincible True Ancestor's combat power at 373. Let's go, Yi Tian said to Ouyang Zhuor. Immediately, Yi Tian took Ouyang Zhuor out of the Wind King's small realm and returned to the human race. At this time, Ouyang Zhuor was still a little pity, she still wanted to practice in the Juyu Forbidden Pond for a period of time, in that case, her cultivation might be able to reach the peak of the Tao. Zhuor, do you know whether there is a standard of combat power above the invincible true ancestor? Yi Tian asked curiously. He felt that if there was such a standard, then Ouyang Zhuor, who used to be the ancestor of the half-step domain, must know it, at least he knew a lot more than General Zusha and the others. After all, the Blood Evil General is only the invincible true ancestor, and he knows too little. Above the invincible true ancestor. Ouyang Zhuor was silent for a while, and then asked, why are you asking this? Could it be that you broke the shackles and became the invincible superior? No, just curious to ask. Yi Tian said, it is true. Ouyang Zhuor said, it's just that the difficulty is too great. The ultimate limit that countless peerless geniuses can reach is the invincible true ancestor. In the realm of the gods, the invincible true ancestor is not recognized. A standard, but the standard above the invincible true ancestor is recognized by all Taoist ancestors, but few people know it, because in the entire divine heaven realm, it is possible for a genius like that to be born after a long time. Above the invincible true ancestor, it is called the Supreme True Ancestor. Supreme True Ancestor. Yi Tian heard this standard for the first time, and a thought suddenly occurred in his heart, and he attacked the Supreme True Ancestor. Is there any benefit in hitting the Supreme True Ancestor? Yi Tian asked again. This is a big secret, why should I tell you? Ouyang Jor asked. This. Yi Tian didn't know what to say, but when he was thinking about it, Ouyang Jor said again, okay, I'll tell you for free, but if you want to ask you for help in the future, you can help me. It is good, Yi Tian agreed. I saw Ouyang Jor said. The Supreme True Ancestor is not only powerful in combat, but more importantly, the source of the Supreme True Ancestor will be completely condensed into the Supreme Tao source, and will always generate the power of the source. That is to say, the Supreme True Ancestor does not lack the source, and even if the source is exhausted, it can be quickly recovered. It's like being scrapped. Therefore, the true ancestors generally did not dare to let their origins be traumatized. Many true ancestors and even Tao ancestors can only recover after a long period of time once their origin is damaged. For example, the fragments of the realm traveled through the dark forbidden realm, and the ancestors of the Tao and a large number of true ancestors were severely damaged, and even the origin was almost broken, so they have been sleeping for countless years and have not been able to recover. But the Supreme True Ancestor doesn't need to worry about this, and it is difficult for them to be seriously injured by any injury. Quote, this is not the point is that the Supreme True Ancestor can completely use the source to strengthen his own strength. For example, there are some forbidden techniques that use the source to improve their strength, but others dare not practice at all. Cultivation is tantamount to suicide, but Supreme Truth Ancestors can practice. For example, the physical body of the Supreme True Ancestor has reached its limit, but if you practice those forbidden techniques, you can break the strength of the physical body again, and you can continue to refine the power of the True Ancestor and enhance the power of the True Ancestor. In addition, Yuan can also speed up the cultivation of Taoism, and it is not too difficult to cultivate a middle thousand Taoism to the extreme level. Thus, if an invincible True Ancestor steps into the Supreme True Ancestor, the strength will not increase too much, but with the passage of time, the strength of the Supreme True Ancestor will become more and more exaggerated, and it can easily crush an invincible True Ancestor. Once there was a Supreme True Ancestor who fought with a triple Heavenly Tao Ancestor, and they killed each other. You can imagine how terrifying the Supreme True Ancestor's strength is. 1. According to the secrets I understand, the worst achievement of the Supreme True Ancestor in the future is also the invincible True Ancestor of the Nine Heavens. Most of them can be promoted to the level of a half-step Domain Ancestor, and a few have entered the Domain Ancestor realm. After listening to Ouyang Jor's story, Yi Tian truly realized the terrifying aspect of the Supreme True Ancestor. Of course, he also wants to enter the ranks of the Supreme True Ancestor. According to what you said, is it the Supreme True Ancestor? In fact, it depends on whether there is a condensed Supreme Tao source. Yi Tian asked. That's right, that's it. Ouyang Jor nodded. It is the condensing of the Supreme Taoyuan that is the symbol of the Supreme True Ancestor, so the standard of the Supreme True Ancestor will be recognized. As for the other 5 standards, they are all True Ancestors. The standards they set themselves are not recognized. At this moment, Yi Tian has a general understanding of the situation. If it wasn't for Ouyang Jor's explanation, he wouldn't understand anything at all. However, he did not practice the forbidden technique of the origin, and even if he really became the Supreme Ancestor in the future, where did this forbidden technique come from? Haifeng Mountain should have such a forbidden technique inheritance. Yi Tian guessed. However, without reaching the realm of the Supreme True Ancestor, even if Haifeng Mountain has the inheritance of forbidden techniques, it is impossible to inform the generals, otherwise the whole person will be completely useless. In the days that followed, Yi Tian's goal was very certain. In addition to cultivating, he was cultivating his own team, the Juji army. Under the cultivation of a large number of boundary stones, a large number of top geniuses have been born, and each of them has a super god-level comprehension talent. At least in Yi Tian's eyes, super god-level comprehension talent is very good, and it is most cost-effective to use boundary stones to improve comprehension talent. If they perform well, Yi Tian will also improve their other talents. There is no shortage of talent, no shortage of resources, and with Yi Tian's guidance, these geniuses, promoted to the real ancestor realm, and once they break through, they are directly elite ancestors. Gradually, the number of true ancestors under Yi Tian reached 3 figures, and he was working hard towards 4 figures. And Yi Tian's wife Xiao Yu and younger sister Yi Yu also broke through to the real ancestor realm. At present, the battle strength is the elite real ancestor, which is still far away from the top real ancestor, but one day they will be able to reach that level. This day, Yi Tian was participating in the book, and suddenly his heart came, and he had a strange feeling. A wisp of the breath of the powerful Tao of the blade spreads out. At this moment, he realized. It's finally done. I didn't expect it to be so difficult to comprehend a trace of the Xian Dao of the blade. Fortunately, I have the help of the Dao of the sword. Otherwise, I don't know when I'll be able to comprehend a trace of the Dao of the sword. 1 inch. Yi Tian muttered. However, just comprehending a trace of the superlative Dao of the sword would increase Yi Tian's strength, but not much. After all, Yi Tian's combat power is already very strong. How much help can a mere wisp of the strongest swordsmanship be? But this is a beginning. Once he continues to comprehend, it will still greatly improve his combat power. In the days that followed, Yi Tian comprehended a little bit of the supreme Dao of the sword, and his progress was getting bigger and bigger. On the other hand, his forbidden body is gradually approaching the realm of 30%. Everything is progressing for the better. Chapter 1099 Break the record of the strongest defense. First update. When Yi Tian was making rapid progress, the true ancestors of Black Wind Mountain were also making rapid progress. And Yi Tian not only entered the Juyu Taboo School occasionally to practice, but also used his general status to get a few places for his Juji Corps, allowing them to occasionally enter the Juyu Taboo School to practice. Of course, all expenses are paid by Yi Tian himself. After all, his Juji Legion has been cultivating in Juji space. Those true ancestors are very poor. How can they have the capital to go to Juyu Forbidden Pool to cultivate? Yi Tian's expectation for the Juji Legion is very simple, that is, to train several top true ancestors as soon as possible. Otherwise, without the combat power of the top true ancestors, it is not easy to go out to do tasks. This day, Yi Tian is comprehending the great wilderness Dharma body, and he has cultivated the Thousand Dao technique to the pinnacle of Shaocheng, although he has seldom comprehended cultivation over the years. But now, he vaguely felt that he was going to break this shackle and cultivate this Zongqin Dao technique to the realm of mastery. It is a 1000-way art in the Dacheng realm, and its power is terrifying. Moreover, his great wilderness Dharma body has both defensive and boosting effects. Once he reaches the realm of the great accomplishment, he might be able to break an ancient world record again. That's right, that's the strongest defense record. Yi Tian has never broken this record, and the true ancestor who created this record is also an invincible true ancestor. The other party may have also cultivated a Zongqin defense Dao technique to the Dacheng realm, but the other party's foundation is definitely not as deep as his. Therefore, as long as Yi Tian cultivates the great desolate Dharma body to the Dacheng realm, he will definitely be able to break the opponent's record in defense. Years pass by. Yi Tian almost gave up other aspects of cultivation, and tried his best to attack the Dacheng realm of the great wilderness Dharma body. Finally on this day, Yi Tian finally completed his breakthrough. Just after Yi Tian's great desolation Dharma body broke through to the great accomplishment realm, Yi Tian broke the record for the strongest defense on the mysterious false list. At this moment, countless forces were stunned by Yi Tian's record. Previously, although Yi Tian had created 4 records, those 4 records only proved Yi Tian's potential and talent, and could not be called the strongest in the ancient world. But the strongest defense is one of the proofs of the strongest strength. Even the powerhouses like General Zusha and General Motian have no such record, but Yi Tian has broken the record of the strongest defense when others have already created it. This is enough to prove how terrifying Yi Tian's defense is. And the defense is so terrifying, the combat power will not be bad. King Kong City. This is an 8-layered power, with the city as the headquarters of the sect. It used to have a large number of cities in the domain, and it has a great reputation. The strength of King Kong City is very strong, not weaker than Tianjian sect, and many forces are not willing to offend King Kong City, because the defense and life-saving ability of King Kong City disciples are too terrible. The most famous battle was when 10 Xian true ancestors besieged King Kong City in a forbidden area, and they were besieged and killed for tens of thousands of years without being able to kill the opponent. At this time, the true ancestor Buko, who was known as the first true ancestor of King Kong City, was very angry. He is the true ancestor who created the strongest defense before. He once entered the talent ancestral pool, obtained a defense level Dao level natural talent, and practiced the famous Zongqin Dao technique of King Kong City, King Kong Unbreakable, and in one fell swoop, he cultivated to the realm of Dacheng, and reached the peak of Dacheng, and he was only one step away from consummation. But he never imagined that the record of the strongest defense created by such a terrifying defense would be broken. The true ancestor of Wanfa, who is this guy, why haven't I heard of it? The true ancestor Buko was very annoyed that he was broken by a not-so-famous true ancestor, and if several of his opponents broke his own record, he would not be so angry. Soon, he learned the origin of this true ancestor from the mouths of other true ancestors in King Kong City. It turned out to be a native of the Xuanxu ancient realm, and this is his 5th record. Unbroken true ancestor was surprised. This kind of talent is so amazing, it's simply incredible. Could it be that this guy has cultivated 1,000 Dao technique in the defense class to the perfect state? Babu Junzu thought. But this step is too difficult. Even if you have a defensive Dao level natural talent, you can try to cultivate a Zongqin Dao technique to the perfect state, and the difficulty is sky high. He has practiced the thousand way art of the Vajra Unbreakable for countless years, and there are many treasures to increase, but after such a long time, he is still unable to break the shackles. At the true ancestor level, the difficulty of cultivating a Zongqin Dao technique to a perfect state is second only to stepping into the ranks of the supreme true ancestor. It's a pity that this guy is the general of the Black Wind Mountain, otherwise it would be great to pull him into our King Kong city. Unbroken true ancestor regretted. It really broke the record for the strongest defense. Yi Tian was very excited. Sitting on 5 records in the ancient world, the effect of the increase is too amazing. If he continues to break the record, even if he does not use the Juyu Tabu Pool to cultivate, the speed will not be too slow. If I can train Tiangong to the realm of Dachang, I'm afraid I can break the speed record. Yi Tian thought to himself. However, after all, it was too late for his Tiangong extreme speed cultivation. He had just stepped into the realm of minor achievement, and he was still very far away from the realm of mastery. Actually, if you want to quickly cultivate the Zongqin Taoism to the realm of Dachang, it is not impossible. Yi Tian muttered. The way is to integrate more similar Dao level natural talents. His copy talent can now be combined with Dao level natural talents, such as 2 Dao level natural talents that involve defense. Once they are merged into 1 Dao level natural talent, their talents will definitely be stronger, and the cultivation of the great wilderness will be faster. For flowers, similarly, if 2 kinds of speed class Dao level natural talents are combined, then the cultivation of Tiangong extreme speed is bound to be faster. In the past, Yi Tian couldn't find many Dao level natural talents, but now there are not many Dao level natural talents in the ancient world of Xuanxu. If the Dao level natural talents of the true ancestors of the Xuanxu ancient world were copied one by one, there should be a lot of them, maybe more than 100. The only trouble now is that he doesn't know who has Dao level natural talent. If he is asked to investigate, he will not have any spare time. If you leave it to someone else to talk, this person should be better first. First of all, the true ancestor of the true kingdom of Void Innocent, he is not at ease, and it is easy to leak information. By the way, the Juji Legion has not done a mission yet, this time I will hand over this mission to them and let them help me investigate. Yi Tian thought. So, he came to the Juji space and recruited the true ancestors of the Juji Legion. Meet the general, meet the general, 1, meet the general. Many true ancestors greeted Yi Tian with strict military posture. Yi Tian took a look around, and immediately said, "You have been cultivating here for a long time. Today, I will release a task for you. If you complete it well, I will give you a reward." When they heard that there was a mission, the true ancestors of the Juji Legion were very excited. Although the Juju space is large, it is too boring here, they have long wanted to go out to do the task, but without Yi Tian's permission, no one dares to leave, and there is no way to leave. You can check for me which true ancestors in the ancient world of Xuanxu have Dao level natural talents, just tell us who they are and which forces they are in. This task should not be difficult, but the main thing is not to attract the attention of which forces. Yi Tian ordered. Yes, General, many true ancestors responded. Immediately, Yi Tian took these true ancestors out of the Juju space and scattered them all over the Xuanxu ancient realm to investigate the matter of Dao level natural talent. And Yi Tian slowly waited for the news. In a flash, decades passed by. During this period, messages came one after another, and each message represented the whereabouts of a Dao level natural talent. Now, decades have passed, and the news has become less and less, which proves that the Dao level natural talent has basically been investigated. 103 Dao level natural talents. Yi Tian read the information completely and nodded with satisfaction. Next, he is going to copy the Dao level natural talents of these true ancestors. Chapter 1100 Breaking the Record Again. Second. It is not difficult for Yi Tian to want these true ancestors' Dao level natural talents. He first finds those true ancestors who can determine the location, and he does not need to be too close to them. He only needs to copy the talent to detect them, and then he can copy their Dao level natural talents. Then, Yi Tian approached those true ancestors whose positions had been determined, and copied a Door level natural talent. And some true ancestors are located inside their sects, and some sects are located in spaces where people are openly allowed to enter or even visit. Yi Tian also entered the domain fragment space of those sects, approached their sect headquarters one by one, and copied these Dao-level natural talents. But there are still some sects that prohibit outsiders from entering, so there is only another way. Sneak in. Naturally, Yi Tian would not sneak into the realm fragments of other sects with the deity, but copied the body of an invincible true ancestor with his copy talent, and then sneaked into the realm of those sects with the body of the invincible true ancestor. Fragment space. Of course, this is easy to be discovered, but as long as Yi Tian's identity is not exposed, he will not have the slightest worry about 373. Just like that, a year has passed. It took Yi Tian a full 10 years to finally copy all the true ancestors' Dao-level natural talents on the list, and integrate them into his own Dao-level natural talents. These Dao-level natal innate talents involve various kinds. It can be said that Yi Tian will not have the slightest restriction on practicing any Dao technique in the future. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to integrate Dao-level natural talents with similar attributes, among which there are 6 Dao-level natural talents related to speed. It took Yi Tian about 300,000 years to integrate these 6 Dao-level natural talents. Under the acceleration of 10,000 times, only 30 years have passed, and the 6 Dao-level natural talents have been completely integrated into a brand new Dao-level natural talent. This brand new Dao-level talent was named Extreme Speed by Yi Tian. The Speed Dao-level natal talent is much stronger than other speed-level Dao-level natal talents, and it not only includes speed, but also has other characteristics of the previous 6 Dao-level natal talents. In a word, the Dao-level natural talent after the fusion contains all the characteristics of the 6 Dao-level natural talent, and there will be no weakening, only strengthening. Now I start to practice and realize the speed of Tiangong. I don't know how much the training effect will improve. With anticipation, Yi Tian began to practice the technique of Tiangong extreme speed. As soon as he cultivated, Yi Tian felt that it was completely different from before. The cultivation effect was very good, at least 10 times better than before, which was a qualitative improvement. Moreover, in the past, Tianwu extreme speed occasionally fell into a small bottleneck, which took a long time to break, but now there is no bottleneck at all. The speed of improvement is very fast. If you continue at this speed of cultivation, it is estimated that it will not be too long before you can enter the realm of Dacheng. Yi Tian estimated. In the days that followed, Yi Tian practiced ascetic practice to realize the extreme speed of Tiangong. In the blink of an eye, 200,000 years have passed in the ancient world of Xuanshu. This day, Yi Tian finally broke the shackles and elevated Tiangong to the realm of great achievement. Suddenly, the strongest speed record on the Xuanshu list was broken by Yi Tian. All of a sudden, Yi Tian has 6 records of the ancient Xuanshu world, dazzling the entire ancient world of Xuanshu. Even General Zusha and General Modian were shocked when they learned of this. Black Wind Mountain. 3 generals are sitting and drinking together. 2 of them were General Zusha and General Modian, while the other young man was pale and looked seriously injured. He was the last general of one of the 3 generals of Haifeng Mountain, General Fengxing. General Fengxing is also an invincible ancestor, but his strength is not as good as that of General Zusha, and he is an invincible ancestor at the elite level. Due to the severe injury he received before and the damage to his origin, he never woke up. He woke up not long ago, and slowly recovered with the help of some healing treasures and the effects of the 9 Serenity Taboo Cool. Although it is still impossible to completely recover, it can barely exert the combat power of the invincible true ancestor. At this time, the 3 generals were chatting about Yi Tian. General Juji is really amazing. He broke the record of the strongest defense before, and now he has broken the record of the strongest speed. I'm afraid his strength is not weaker than that of General Zusha. General Ferris said with a smile. General Zusha shook his head and said, "You probably underestimate General Juji, his strength may have surpassed me. With his current progress, I am afraid it will not be long before breaking the record of the strongest attack. By then, he may be able to complete the entire attack." The first true ancestor of the ancient world of Xuanshu. 1. First true ancestor. I'm afraid not necessarily. Don't forget, Tiandi Palace hasn't appeared yet. General Ferris said. When it came to Tiandi Palace, General Fengxing and General Zusha frowned. General Zusha said in a low voice, "At the beginning, Hao Hai Heizu of Tiandi Palace personally ordered the forces of the upper 3 layers to face the enemy, and even our Haifengxin was forced to participate in the war. The headquarters of Haifengxin was able to hide from other forces, but he couldn't hide it from the Hao Hai Sea ancestor. The other party controls the domain, and in the domain, there is no force that can hide it. However, how High Sea ancestors' behavior is very strange. Why forcibly send 1/3 of the domain into the dark forbidden area? And, did he really die in battle? Don't forget, why did the Battle of the Realm begin? How High Ji is also an extremely ancient realm in the realm of the gods in heaven. Countless powerhouses have come out, and there are even many geniuses who have become the descendants of the ancestors of the realms. If there is no huge benefit, no one dares to launch a battle to break the domain. But in that battle, the enemies participating in the battle came from a number of legendary forces, and even 3 domain ancestors besieged Hao Hai Heizu. You said they were for the sake of what treasure? General Feng Xing asked curiously. I don't know, but I can be sure that most of the power of the Tiandi Palace has not fallen, and now it must be hidden in the ancient world of Xuanxu, but they are hidden too deep. It is estimated that the rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu are blocked, otherwise they would have been exposed long ago. General Ferris said. By the way, General Juji is already the invincible true ancestor, and he may even surpass me. We should recommend him to be the 4th general of Haifeng Mountain. General Zusha suggested. It is not a trivial matter to confer generals. Now the 6 kings have not fully awakened, and the other heavenly kings are also sleeping, and we are not qualified to confer generals, so the 6 kings can only confer them in person. General Ferris said. Well, I'll go and ask the Wind King for instructions and ask the Wind King's opinion. The Blood Evil General said. All right, General Ferris and General Feng Xing nodded. Soon, General Zusha contacted the King of Wind and told about the canonization of Yi Tian as a general. The King of Wind replied immediately, and 10 years later he conferred Yi Tian as the 4th general of the Black Wind Mountain. Afterwards, General Zusha contacted Yi Tian and told Yi Tian about the canonization of the general. Canonized general. Yi Tian knew that the generals in Haifeng Mountain were actually different. The other generals belonged to ordinary generals, and the 3 generals were above the ordinary generals. General Zusha, General Feng Xing, and General Ferris. These 3 generals are the real decision makers at the true ancestor level of Haifeng Mountain, and they have the right to order ordinary generals. And there are many benefits of becoming a general. The first is to gain more inheritance, but the most important benefit is to have the right to have a direct dialogue with the 6 kings, and occasionally get the guidance of the 6 kings. Of course, this is only the benefit that Yi Tian has learned about. As for whether there are other benefits, it will only be known after becoming a general. In the blink of an eye, 10 years have passed. This day, 5.8 Yi Tian entered the small realm of the Wind King. In a space, countless true ancestors stood around as spectators, and the 3 generals, General Zusha, General Motian, and General Feng Xing all came to greet Yi Tian. Today, a wisp of the Wind King's consciousness will forcibly descend here. Just a wisp of consciousness came, and it came for a short time, and the price to pay was not large, but it was enough to see the grandeur of the canonization of the general. If it wasn't in the ancient world, the Wind King might have arrived in his true form. Yi Tian stood on the canonization stage, and the 3 generals contacted the Wind King. Boom, the rules of the ancient world retreated, and an illusory figure gradually became clear. I saw a handsome young man appear in front of Yi Tian. This person is the Wind King, who is one of the remaining 6 kings of Haifeng. Although only a wisp of consciousness descended, Yi Tian felt a great pressure. This is also the first time Yi Tian has seen a strong person above the true ancestor. Ouyang Jor is not counted, it's just a reincarnation, no power. I have seen the Wind King. Yi Tian bowed and said respectfully.